Cleveland, the site Jacobs Field. Tonight, the Cleveland Indians play host to the California Angels. And what a matchup we have tonight. A battle of division leaders. California in the tightly bunched Western Division. One game up on Texas. Cleveland in a runaway in the Central. Hi, everybody. Along with Rick Cerone, I'm Tom Hamilton. First meeting of the year between these two clubs, and they may meet again come October. This could very well be a playoff preview.
Well, I think a little bit of a surprise, the California Angels. Everybody kind of expected the Indians to be where they are, but the Angels have been the surprise so far this year.
And you know what, Rick? There are a lot of similarities with these two ball clubs, in particular offensively.
Yeah, I think offensively, if you look, everybody would expect the Indians to be leading the league in run scores. Not so. The Angels are in first place. Very close. A lot of young talent on both sides of the ledger.
And there's one other common denominator when you talk about these two ball clubs, and that's the closer.
Yeah, both guys have been perfect. Lee Smith, they acquired in the offseason. 22 out of 24 save opportunities, but Jose Mesa has been the surprise for the Indians. They didn't know what to get when they got him, but all of a sudden, 23 out of 23 save opportunities. He's been perfect on the year.
Tonight's matchup, Brian Anderson for California. He grew up 45 minutes from Cleveland. It'll be Chad Ogea for the Indians. Let's go now to John Saunders in New York. Welcome back to Jacobs Field. As always, sold out here in downtown Cleveland. 42,000 will be on hand to see the battle of division leaders, the California Angels and the Cleveland Indians. And a look at tonight's starting lineup for the California Angels, brought to you by Budweiser. Tony Phillips, who's really been a great addition since the trade from Detroit during spring training, followed by Jim Edmonds, an all-star. The DH tonight, Greg Myers, Tim Salmon, the cleanup hitter, J.T. Snow, whose career has rebounded, rookie Garrett Anderson in left, Damian Easley's had a disappointing season. It'll be George Fabregas catching and batting eighth, and all-star Gary DiSarcina, a 300-plus hitter, batting ninth. Chad Ogea on the hill tonight for Cleveland, 6'2", 200 pounds. The right-hander, 24 years old. Good sinking fastball. He'll throw the four-seam fastball. A good curve, and Rick, one of the best changeups in the American League.
He'll be around the plate. You notice only 11 base-on balls, and has been a big surprise for the Cleveland Indians so far this year.
He was just activated today, more of a paper move for Cleveland prior to the All-Star break. They sent him back to their AAA club in Buffalo, enable him to make a start on Thursday for Buffalo on July 13th. He was activated today as they demoted Greg Olson and also activated Dave Winfield and sent Alan Embry back to Buffalo. Let's check out the Cleveland defense, which ranks 11th in the American League.
Albert Bell, Ruben Amaro in center field, Manny Ramirez in right field, Jim Thome, a much improved Jim Thome at third base, Omar Vizquel, the shortstop, two-time Gold Glove winner, Carlos Baerga at second base, Herbert Perry at first base, Sandy Alomar behind the plate, and on the mound, Chad Ogea.
Kenny Lofton again not starting tonight. He is out with a tender rib cage area on the left side, so Ruben Amaro will get the start in center. Tony Phillips, the switch hitter, leads off, and tonight's first pitch, a fastball strike. 84 degrees in downtown Cleveland on a beautiful summer evening. Not a cloud in the sky, and not a breeze to speak of. Phillips batting .281 with 14 homers. There's that changeup.
Real good changeup right off the bat, living up the top building. You see it, it just throws the hitter's timing right off. Same motion as the fastball, and then it just disappears. Good, and you know what? He can make it move both ways, away from a lefty or away from a righty, which I felt was really hard to do for a pitcher.
Fastball there, fouled back. Is it rare for anyone to throw a changeup that breaks two different ways?
And it's basically the same changeup. It's almost like a palm ball. That's how they were explaining it to me, a palm ball that he can control, make it go to the left or to the right, which I never knew a pitcher could be able to do that. Just shows you what they're able to do with a baseball.
The 0-2 pitch. A ball and 2 strikes to Phillips. Boy, when you talk to Marcel Latzman, the manager of the California Angels, he says one of the reasons why this club's in first place, and a big reason, is the man at the plate. Tony Phillips, coming from the Detroit Tigers, really brought a winning attitude.
and that veteran leadership. And also, you know, he works the count. He goes deep into counts, which affects the rest of the hitters.
Sends this fly ball to fairly deep left center, but Albert Bell has plenty of room to make the one-handed grab.
It's so true when a hitter, a veteran hitter like Tony Phillips, comes over to the Angels, his effect is on all the players. They watch how he goes about his business, how he prepares for each day, working the count, going deep into counts, and it affects the rest of the players. They become a very patient hitting team.
Well, he's given them a great leadoff hitter, and it's also enabled them to play Jim Edmonds in center field, as Chad Curtis was dealt to Detroit to open the spot for Jim Edmonds. And here he is. What a season he is having. An all-star in this his second year, batting .293, 16 homers, and second in the league in RBIs with 61.
And if you look at his setup, it almost reminds me of a young Will Clark. Remember how Will Clark was so fluid in his swing? That's what Edmonds is like. And Chad O.J. will use both sides of the plate with his fastball. His fastball really sets up his changeup.
And he falls behind on Edmonds. 3 balls and no strikes. And O.J.'s had great control this year. In his 9 outings, he's only walked 11. And he misses on 4 straight to Jim Edmonds. Here at Jacobs Field, second year for this jewel of a ballpark. It's 325 down the left field line, 370 to left center. Deepest part of the park just to the left of center, in which it's 410, then 405 to dead center, 375 to right center, and then 325 down the right field line. The wall you see in left running out to center is 19 feet high, then 8 feet high. It drops down from center field to right. And this is truly a hitter's park.
Yeah, and it really adds to the excitement that they're experiencing right now here in Cleveland. That wall, I didn't realize the big scoreboard looks like it brings everything closer to play. Sitting in the dugout, it looks like the scoreboard's right in left field, and it makes everything closer, and there's no baseball problem here in Cleveland. That's what's been exciting this weekend.
Greg Myers, the DH tonight. And he lines the changeup up the middle, a single to center field, as Edmonds will stop at second. So the Angels have something going in the first inning with 1 down and runners at first and second. That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Tim Salmon.
There's the changeup. Myers stays back and tries to drive it. You see the extension. He drives the ball up the middle. Doesn't always have to be pretty. He hit that ball towards the end of the bat, but he enabled himself. He gave himself a chance by staying back and not pulling off the baseball.
California still without Chili Davis. He's been out with a hamstring pull since June 21st, but they hope to have their DH back in the lineup tomorrow. Even without him, they've gone 13 and 10. But that's a big void with Chili Davis out, as O.J. misses inside to Salmon.
Well, it's very similar to what the Indians are experiencing right now. Their number 4 hitter, which is Eddie Murray, who's been on the disabled list, a switch hitter with power. Same thing that Chili Davis brings to the Angel line. So these two teams are not that far apart.
Well, they're the top 2 scoring teams. Cleveland leads in home runs. California 3rd in the league in homers. Top 2 hitting teams average-wise. As Salmon cuts and misses to even the count. Biggest difference in the 2 clubs would be California's total lack of team speed. They are dead last in stolen bases with only 28 as a team.
So what it tells me is that Marcel Latchman is utilizing the hit and run in certain situations. You don't always have to steal bases. You can utilize hit and run. That's why they're hitting for a decent average and scoring a lot of runs.
No score, but California threatening in the first with 2 on and 1 down. O.J.'s 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball missing. 2 balls and a strike to Salmon, the one-time American League Rookie of the Year back in 1993. And really, he's been solid every year since coming up with California, batting .300, 16 homers, 47 runs batted in. He got a big game-winning 3-run home run in the 10th inning on Thursday night for California in Detroit. Check swing, and that'll even the count.
I was talking about how a fastball will really set up the changeup. In Chad's case, he'll pitch inside to right-hand hitters, spot his fastball on both sides of the plate, And everybody in the dugout, they have scouts. I was with Matt Keogh yesterday. He was doing the advanced scouting work for the Angels, and they know that O.J.'s best pitch is his changeup. You have to be able to establish your fastball to make the changeup effective.
2-2 the count. Could be a double play. Thome to second, one. Mayorga's relay, not quite in time as Salmon hustling down the line beats it out. So now runners at the corners with 2 down as Salmon reaches on the fielder's choice.
Really jammed him. O.J. again, the fastball inside, that time a sinking fastball. Thome's really been much improved at third base, and you have to give some of the credit to Buddy Bell, the work he's been working every day. And you know Buddy, the way he is, he says, no, don't give me the credit, Rick. He says, this kid is a workaholic. He loves to work. We've changed a couple of things. Thome used to like to stand up real tall and throw everything as hard as he could. Now he's worked with them, adjusted his arm angle, throwing the ball to first base, and he's really improved defensively. Everybody knew he could swing the bat.
Here's a much improved J.T. Snow, who was fooled by the changeup. Boy, J.T. Snow burst onto the scene in 1993, had a phenomenal month of April, but then according to hitting instructor Rod Carew, became too home run happy and tried to jerk everything out of the park. He's bounced back and forth between the minors the last 2 years, but it looks now like he's here to stay. Down in the count quickly, 0-2 with 2 down and runners at the corners. No score in the first. J.T. Snow, a switch hitter, and he might be the best defensive first baseman in the American League.
Don Mattingly has held that trophy for many years and still capable, but this is the next guy to succeed Don Mattingly. He can pick it at first base.
A ball and 2 strikes to J.T. Snow. Rod Carew is saying that J.T. now convinced that, look, I'm not a home run hitter. He's a gap hitter, and he will hit home runs. But when he starts to try to muscle the balls, when he gets in trouble, he's the kind of guy that has to use the whole park. And he's done that, hitting .303 with 13 homers and 56 runs batted in. And he's a much better hitter left-handed. Fisted foul, and the count stays a ball and 2 strikes.
Tom, you can see some funny swings when hitters are looking for certain pitches. Right there, J.T. Snow is sitting on a changeup. Now, it's awful difficult to do because O.J.'s fastball, even though it's not overpowering, is sneaky. You see the bad hack that J.T. had. Sometimes you can get yourself out more as a hitter than the pitcher does.
Again, the 1-2 pitch. Didn't miss by much. By the way, tonight's umpires, Don Denkinger behind the plate, with John Hirschbeck at first, John Shulock at second, and Terry Kraft at third.
Oh, my favorite guys, the umpires. I used to work with them, try to get extra strikes for my pitchers, give them some autographed baseballs once in a while, whatever it took to get a couple extra strikes.
2-2 pitch, and again a changeup, and Snow just did stay alive. Did it work?
Well, Tommy John, I think he was the master. Tommy John was the master of giving balls to the umpires. Stop by before he's pitching. Hey, guys, how you doing? And you know what? They'd give him the benefit of the doubt. Tommy John's ball used to sink so much anyway. Next thing you know, as a catcher, you have to know how that umpire's calling that day. So you might, okay, he's going to give me away, so start moving out there. Knowing the umpire strike zone is so important, not just for the hitter, but for the catcher.
Again, the 2-2 pitch, grounded up the middle. Baerga can't reach it, and Snow delivers the 2-out run-scoring single as Edmonds will score and Salmon will scoot to third. And so California jumps out 1-0 in the first inning on the clutch 2-out RBI hit by J.T. Snow.
Little sinking fastball moving down and away. J.T. not a real pretty swing. Baerga was a step in the hole. Wasn't able to make up the ground to get the ball towards second base.
And so the Angels on top early, 1-0. Still runners at the corners with 2 down. And the 1-out walk to Jim Edmonds comes back to haunt Chad O.J. This is Garrett Anderson, the rookie left fielder who has really played well and certainly a candidate for Rookie of the Year, batting .293 with 5 homers, 22 runs batted in. Ball missing outside. Garrett Anderson yesterday in the doubleheader sweep of Detroit had 5 hits, including 2 home runs, and knocked in 5 runs in the doubleheader. Marcel Latchman says he has been a big surprise for the Angels this year. This is really a young ball club, as are the Cleveland Indians, with sprinkled veterans throughout both rosters.
I think the Indians probably have more veterans throughout their lineup. You know, you have your Winfields, your Murray, Martinez, Hershiser. The Angels have a couple. Here's a balk call.
Wow. 2-0 California as O.J. called for the balk. And Salmon can trot home. And Snow advances to second. And the Angels get a gift run. What did he do wrong here, Tim, or Rick?
Sometimes they say they don't come to a complete stop, but that hasn't been called for about 5 years. It's very difficult to read. Mark Wiley saying, I don't know, it looked pretty good to me.
1-0 pitch fouled back to even the count.
That's one of the rules. You can't, as a manager, come out and argue the ball call or a called strike. You're not allowed to.
You can come out, but you'll soon go back. As Mike Hargrove looks on, his club the best record in all of baseball at 50-21, but behind early 2-0. 1-1 pitch hit hard on the ground to first, but Herbert Perry will make the play himself. So California, thanks to the walk and the balk, jump out early 2-0. Angels up 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the first inning, and tonight's Budweiser starting lineup for the Cleveland Indians features Ruben Amaro for the injured Kenny Lofton, followed by Omar Vizquel. Then you hit the All-Stars, Carlos Baerga, Albert Bell, Manny Ramirez, the hero yesterday, Dave Winfield just off the disabled list today, then Jim Thome, rookie Herbert Perry, and Sandy Alomar back healthy. They will face Brian Anderson, the 6'1", 190-pound left-hander out of Geneva, Ohio. That is just north and east of Cleveland, about 45 minutes along Lake Erie. He grew up an Indians fan and pitching in Cleveland for the first time in his young major league career as he misses outside to Ruben Amaro. How nervous might this youngster be?
A little excited, but what he's going to have to do, he's going to have to establish his fastball inside to the big Cleveland hitters.
Line to straightaway center by Amaro, but reaching down to make the grab is Jim Edmonds, who's a terrific defensive outfielder. And let's check that Angel defense.
Garrett Anderson will be in left field. Jim Edmonds, the all-star, in center field. Tim Salmon in right field. Tony Phillips starting at third base now. Gary DiSarcina at shortstop. Damian Easley at second base. And maybe a Gold Glove winner soon, J.T. Snow at first. And George Fabregas behind the plate.
Here is a two-time Gold Glove winner as Omar Vizquel takes strike one, hitting .254 with 4 homers, 27 runs batted in. Brian Anderson, the Angels' first-round pick, just 2 years ago, facing Omar Vizquel. A ball and a strike to Vizquel. Anderson is making his 7th start. He has a record of 2-2 with an earned run average of 4.19. He has spent some time on the disabled list as Vizquel pops it out of play. A ball and 2 strikes. Anderson went on the disabled list on May 9th with a strained left bicep muscle, made 3 rehab starts, and then came back with the Angels on June 4th. His last time out, he pitched a beauty against Toronto just before the All-Star break as he went 7 shutout innings and gaining the win. Yanked down the left field line. It's a fair ball. And this ball is cut off just in front of the wall by Anderson, but to no avail as Vizquel has his 10th two-base hit of the season.
High breaking balls. What it does, it speeds up the hitter's bat. Instead of getting jammed with a fastball up there, you're able to get the bat head out. And that breaking ball, if it's not in the right spot, are extra base hits, doubles and homers because of the bat angle.
Brian Anderson, sinking fastball. He'll throw the slider. Actually, Marcel Latchman said it's more of a slur. Changeup. He's not overpowering, Rick. And like Chad O'Jay, has to have good location.
What makes it even tougher is he throws across his body as a left-hander. So as a right-hand hitter, you see that you start going towards the outside part of the plate. See how he steps across his body? A right-hand hitter sees that and he starts leaning out over the plate. Good left-hand pitchers that throw across their body. I'll give you an example. An Al Leiter for Toronto that throws a cutter. Now, if you can do that, you can get inside on the right-hand hitter's back all day long.
Facing a man now that banged out 5 hits yesterday in the Indians' dramatic win over Oakland. And popped out of play. 0-2 the count on Carlos Baerga, who leads the league in hits with 101. And now 3rd in the league in hitting overall at 339 as you look at the hit leaders in the American League. That's a lot of base hits when you consider it's done in 71 games.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you. It took me maybe 10 years to get up to 101 hits. But, you know, Carlos, the thing about him, as a former catcher, there's no one way to pitch him.
Yeah.
He'll hit bad pitches. He'll hit balls on the ground, balls over his head. So as a catcher, you start thinking, where do I get this guy out? But I do know you have to make him aware of the ball inside. Because I think you can free up a lot of his pitch selections when you start pounding hitters inside.
2-0 Angels first inning. A ball and 2 strikes on Baerga, who banged out 3 hits in the All-Star game. And he hit that one pitch off Hideo Nomo in the first inning off his shoe tops for a base hit to right.
That makes it very difficult to pitch to, and also to defense, because he hits the ball from line to line, whether he's hitting right-handed or left-handed. And I tell you, that's what makes him very difficult to guard against.
Still a ball and 2 strikes on Baerga. And now Fabregas wants to talk things over with Brian Anderson. Brian Anderson's mom and dad, other members of his family, and a huge contingent of friends taking in this ball game from Geneva. Just 23 years old. I know when you get to this level, you're supposed to be able to block all of that out, but that might be easier said than done.
Sometimes it becomes a distraction. That's not a good sign for Brian Anderson. 0-2 on the road, and you're facing the Cleveland Indians lineup here at home. Nice job at home. Sometimes you don't. Okay, you got to block that out also. What I said about it being a distraction, you know, you have family and friends leaving tickets,
sure,
making sure you're entertaining more than concerned about pitching.
And Baerga stays alive at a ball and 2 strikes. Well, Brian Anderson, he grew up an Indians fan. In fact, he had an Albert Bell poster still hanging in his bedroom when he was going to college, and there's some of his support group here tonight. In fact, it was interesting, a few years ago when the Indians were out in Anaheim, he ran in to Albert Bell and Wayne Kirby at one of the nearby shopping malls in Anaheim and went up and asked Albert for his autograph, even though he was in the majors with the Angels. Line to deep left center. This may be headed for the wall. It does hit halfway up the 19-foot high wall, and it'll be a 2-1 ball game as Vizquel trots home. Baerga, 5 hits yesterday, stays red hot with an RBI double here in the first.
It's amazing that Cleveland gets down, it seems like, every day. And here's another high changeup. The ball's actually off the plate, but look at the extension. Gets the bat through the zone in a hurry on the changeup and drives it off the Cleveland side. Tom, doesn't it seem like every day they're spotting teams 2-3 runs? It doesn't faze the Indians. They just keep coming back.
It really doesn't, Rick. In fact, the Indians now have 50 wins. 24 of them have come from behind victories. And yesterday, they were down early to the Oakland A's 3-0 and won 5-4 in 12 innings. And won it in dramatic fashion when Oakland took the lead in the top of the 12th. And then Manny Ramirez, who waits on deck, won the ball game with a 2-out, 2-strike, 2-run home run off Dennis Eckersley.
And what was impressive, he got down in the count 0-2, and Eck nibbled fast sliders away.
That ball off Geneva's Brian Anderson. What a play he made to recover and get Albert Bell. Wow, that's a terrific play by Anderson.
So much about getting autographs in the mall. Here he knocks it down like a goaltender, and great hustle. Great hustle to get Albert Bell.
That ball was smoked.
See, but you notice what good fielding position he was after he released the pitch. And he becomes the 9th fielder out there, and that's a great job. Great hustle. And this has been everything we thought. And it's only the first inning.
2-1. California leads it with 2 down, and Baerga at third as Bell just was robbed of a hit on a terrific play by Brian Anderson. If he doesn't even get a glove on that ball, it's a 2-2 ball game. And Bell now probably wishing he hadn't given him that autograph. The ball outside to Manny Ramirez, who from a talent standpoint might be the best hitter potentially on this ball club.
And all he has to do is just get more at bats, more comfortable. I mean, 321, 21 homers, 60 RBIs. You say, how much more comfortable? Well, it's a learning experience every day you step on the Major League uniform. You're on the field, you're learning more about how pitchers are going to try to get you out. That's all Mike Hargrove talks about. His potential is unlimited.
Right now, Manny Ramirez is 3rd in the league in RBIs with those 60, and 4th in the league in home runs with 21, and gaining fans by the day here in the Cleveland area. 2 balls and a strike now on Manny Ramirez. 2-1. Angels lead it. Indians batting in the first with 2 down, and Carlos Baerga at third. Check out the RBI leaders. We have 2 of the top 3 in this game. 3-1 the count on Manny Ramirez.
I think we're seeing what makes him so successful. The discipline he has for a 23-year-old. That ball's very close to being a strike, but that's not where he's looking for the ball. When I was talking about Eckersley, he got down the count 0-2 and took 2 sliders that just missed off the plate and then got a good fastball to hit.
And he takes ball 4. Baseball Night in America is brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. By Beechwood Aged Budweiser, the king of beers, this Bud's for you. And by Pizza Hut, makers of stuffed crust pizza. It's hard to resist eating it crust first. So the Indians now with runners at the corners and 2 down. The first walk given up by Brian Anderson, and Dave Winfield off the DL today. And the first pitch he takes is a strike. Winfield put on the disabled list on June 12th. A small tear in his left rotator cuff. He actually suffered that injury running the bases. But he's a DH now, and so he doesn't have to worry about playing in the outfield. He just wants to get back and contribute. Hit on the ground toward third. Phillips will go the short route, and that'll take care of Winfield and the Indians. Cleveland cuts the lead in half. It's 2-1 Angels. Back at sold-out Jacobs Field, 2-1 California leads as we go to the second inning. And when you speak of sellouts, that's the exception, not the rule. In fact, the Indians have 15,000 tickets remaining for the rest of the year. In essence, Rick, every ball game will be a sellout from now until October.
It's amazing. There has been no baseball strike, no resentment over what did happen a year ago. They have a great product they put on the field, and the fans love it.
When you haven't won in 41 years, you'll forgive a strike very quickly when you have this kind of a ball club, as Chad O'Jay gets the first pitch in to Damian Easley. Easley's been a disappointment for the Angels, really the only disappointment they've had all year. The second baseman still struggling to get it going offensively. Hit sharply to third, but Thome stayed with a tough hop. We'll get a look at what else is happening around baseball. Milwaukee really a hot ball club, as they've moved into a second place tie in the Central Division. 2 big disappointments right there, the Yankees and White Sox.
A lot of injuries for the Yankees, I believe, early in the year. When you lose Jimmy Key, your starting pitcher, it makes it very difficult.
And they just got Scott Kamenicki back. And Melito Perez on the DL, so their whole rotation's been injured most of the year as George Fabregas, the Angel catcher, takes strike 1. Fabregas hitting .274 with a homer and 14 RBIs. There's a changeup.
It's amazing how foolish a major league hitter can look when you have great arm action on a changeup. It really just throws your timing off as a hitter. It looks like a fastball and then it just disappears. It never gets to you.
And O.J. will throw that changeup at any point in the count. If it's fair, it's trouble for Fabregas, and it's a foul ball, not by much. So the count stays 0-2 on the Angels catcher. California, probably the best kept secret, at least in the American League, Rick, as they come in leading the West with a record of 43-30. And here's a ball club that had the worst record in the American League a year ago.
And it's real funny walking in the clubhouse around the guys. Tony Phillips said, listen, keep us quiet. Nobody knows about us. It's going to be tough because they are some team.
Did he go around? No, says third base ump Terry Kraft. The ball and 2 strikes on Fabregas. Well, I think a lot of people thought early that California was a mirage and that they would fade, but not with Lee Smith at the back end of that bullpen. Their rotation is solid, and offensively, boy, they have a lot of good numbers up and down their order.
A lot of young players that are getting more confidence every day they're on the major league field, and that's what Rod Carew was speaking about. These guys are confident now. They know they're capable, what they're capable of doing, and they do it day in and day out.
Just foul outside of first.
You know, Tom, I think that's the biggest thing for young players, not to let the 0 for 4 or 0 for 8 really beat you up inside. There's Rod Carew, puts in hours on the videotape. It's a great article in Sports Illustrated talking about he's got signs with his players, and I know exactly what he's talking about. He's got signs with his players during the game that if they're scuffling a little bit, they can look over and he'll mention it. Make sure your head stays down. He's got little signs that he'll use to each hitter.
He's done a terrific job with this young ball club offensively. Full count now on Fabregas, and the thing about Rod Carew, he's as good a hitter as we've seen probably in baseball over the last 30 years. He hit .328 in his career, over 3,000 hits, and there aren't many Rod Carews that he gets to teach. A swing and a miss to strike him out. First strikeout for O.J., second out in the second for California, which leads 2-1.
There's the changeup, and it's inside. As an inside, automatically you assume that it's going to be the fastball because it's coming inside. Remember, we talked about how he can make one go away from the lefty. That one goes into the lefty.
And he threw that changeup on the 3-2 pitch. This is Gary DiSarcina. How strong is the California offense? DiSarcina bats 9th, and he's 10th in the league in hitting with a .322 mark.
How about the effect that Rod Carew has had on the hitters?
And DiSarcina whacks it to deep left field, and this will be off the wall. Bell plays to Karam. He's got a shot at second with a good throw, but it's a rainbow that goes over the head of Baerga, and DiSarcina with his 23rd double, second only to Albert Bell in the American League.
Thought we were at Fenway Park for a second. There's a changeup down and in. The only difference, this wall's about 20 feet further back. The one in Fenway seems like it's right at shortstop. And DiSarcina, I think Rod Carew has had the most effect on him. He's had a couple of years to work with him, and now finally everything is coming through. And it's not more that he hasn't really changed anything. And I asked Rod, do you change their stances? Did you do anything? He said, no, it's just a mental approach. And you know what, Rick? He says most guys are starting to believe in their ability.
Third hit for the Angels is Rod Carew's Warriors trying to add to their 2-1 lead as the leadoff man Tony Phillips, who flied to left to start the ball game, takes ball 1. Phillips a switch hitter. Average-wise, it doesn't matter from which side of the plate he hits, but 10 of his 14 home runs from the left side. This was a great trade getting him from the Tigers. That's hit well to deep left. Bell in front of the wall, and it's off high atop the wall. It'll score a run. Phillips with a stand-up double. 3-1 California on an opposite field double by Phillips. That ball hit just above the built-in scoreboard, just a few feet shy of being a home run.
Tony Phillips, look at how far he is off the plate. He's got his mind made up. He's going to drive this ball to left field. Perfect extension. You get some interesting bounces off the wall. That one hits the 3 on Gubicza's number, Kansas City pitcher. But 2 out RBIs. First 2 innings, that's what kills the team. And that's what gets the confidence in that dugout of the Angels. 2 out RBIs are so important.
Indians pitching coach Mark Wiley. He has molded a staff that leads the league in pitching. California is ranked 3rd in the American League as far as pitching is concerned. But here in the early going, it's all offense as California leads 3-1. The Angels have banged out 4 hits, including a pair of doubles here in the 2nd inning. And Chad Ogea, who came in with an earned run average of 2.19, has already yielded 3 runs, and we're only in the 2nd. And the dangerous Jim Edmonds, the top RBI man on the California club, at the plate. He walked and scored in the 1st.
Angels coming off the heels after the All-Star break, a 4-game sweep in Tiger Stadium.
First time they've ever done that. Indians sweeping Oakland in a 4-game series here in Cleveland. First time they've ever done that. So 2 very hot ball clubs squaring off for the first time this year, and they will only play each other 5 times because they missed out in April when they were supposed to play each other. So only 5 meetings between these 2 clubs, unless of course they meet again come October, and that's a very real possibility. Ball and a strike. In fact, Rick, if the playoffs were to begin today, this would be one of the first-round matchups.
The only difference is that we wouldn't see the number 5 starters going against each other as we have tonight. Chad Ogea against Brian Anderson. We'd be looking at Mark Langston, Dennis Martinez, Chuck Finley. Makes it a little bit different.
Yep.
But this, I tell you, this is what it's all about. 2 first-place teams, a packed house, just what baseball needed to get back on track.
There's a man that worked yesterday for Cleveland, did not get the victory, but he's still unbeaten. 8-0. One of 6 Indians All-Stars, and at 40 years old and a grandpa, he's not showing any signs of slowing down. 3-1 Angels, a ball and 2 strikes.
Saw something very interesting there with Sandy Alomar, giving a target and then moving inside late. And what he's doing, there's a runner on second base, Tony Phillips. You don't want to tip off location, because hitters can really tell what pitch is coming just by location. And you know, you got a veteran down there at second base, Tony Phillips, looking in, trying to pick up signs, stealing signs. So Sandy's job is to give location and then move late, so he really doesn't tip it off.
Edmonds rips it. This is going to head for the wall as well. Boy, the Angels have hit 3 doubles here in the 2nd inning, and it is now a 4-1 Angel lead as Edmonds with another huge 2-out hit. He picks up his 62nd RBI on his 16th double of the year, and the Indians bullpen about to get busy.
We talked about Jim Edmonds, the gap-to-gap power. Now, this is not a bad pitch, folks. That's a changeup down and away, and he's all over it. As a catcher now, you start to wonder, are they relaying signs from second base? Might want to have a little talk to your pitcher, change the set of signs you're using. That's too good of a pitch to be hit that hard.
Elby Lopez, a right-hander, will begin to throw in the Cleveland bullpen. Eli Ogea, a rookie on this Indian staff. Now Greg Myers, who singled his first time up, missed that changeup. So the Angels stay hot. Boy, they had a big sweep yesterday, scoring 13 runs in the 2nd game at Detroit. And so far, we're seeing what we expected. Plenty of offense. 4-1 2nd inning. Popped up. Alomar may have room. Not much room in foul territory here. Sandy at first had trouble locating that ball, but makes the grab. But California strikes. They get 2 runs on 3 consecutive doubles after 2 men were out and lead by 3. Coach Mark Wiley and Chad Ogea, what might they be discussing?
Well, you know, we knew that they could score runs, the Angels, but, you know, you don't like to see them give up, especially all the runs so far this game has come with 2 outs. trying to just get them focused, stay focused, probably saying, you know, you got to get these guys off the plate inside. Let's pound them in a little bit next inning.
Might he be going to the changeup too much?
Could be. I mean, you saw the pitch that Edmonds hit. That ball was a changeup down and off the plate. You get hitters that comfortable, you got to start straightening them up a little bit, and that is by pounding fastballs in on their hands.
Jim Thome, the only left-hander in Mike Hargrove's lineup tonight, and Thome hitting .323 against southpaws. He bats 7th tonight as Brian Anderson gets him to pop it up. There is room third base side, Phillips and Fabregas, but it'll be Phillips to make the grab. Tomorrow night on ABC, the summer fun just keeps on coming with Full House, Thunder Alley, Home Improvement, and Coach.
Power against power. The high potent offenses, and they're going head to head. That's what we want to see. This is what I think the fans really like to see, offense. Nobody complains about length of games.
Except the media.
Except the media, you're right. They love this type of game. A lot of offense, extra base hits.
Herbert Perry's played in 10 games since being called up from Buffalo, Cleveland's AAA franchise, and boy, has he contributed. He was called up when Dave Winfield was injured. Pretty good changeup right there. And now with Eddie Murray on the disabled list, probably for the rest of July, as he suffered 2 broken ribs, sliding into home plate in Minnesota, Perry gets a chance to continue to play, and he has really shined as you look at the latest member of the 3,000 hit club.
Perry's a real good first baseman also, probably their best first baseman. And that's where John Hart, the general manager of the Indians, has to start thinking ahead. I mean, you don't like to say that, but they do have a very comfortable lead. Whether there'll be a pennant race here in Cleveland, that's to be determined. The way they're playing, it doesn't look that way. You have to start thinking beyond. Your best defensive team against left-handed pitching, this may be your answer.
1-2 the count. Herbert Perry played both football and baseball at the University of Florida. He was a punter for 3 years, a quarterback his junior year, and he had a pretty good guy to hand the ball off to, somebody by the name of Emmitt Smith. And people like that can make you a great quarterback.
Makes it a little bit easier for you.
Full count now on Herbert Perry. He actually quit the football team partway through his junior year. He was just not enjoying football. Stays alive at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Angels up 4-1, bottom of the 2nd inning from sold-out Jacobs Field in downtown Cleveland.
Got to see Herbert Perry play a couple of games with the Buffalo Bisons, Cleveland's AAA team, and he hasn't skipped a beat.
No.
He's hit everywhere in the minor leagues and had the 2-home-run game against the Yankees.
3 hits yesterday, and that's what he does so well, is use the entire park, that time fouling it off, but he drove it with power down the right side.
Well, it was a nice little move that Mike Hargrove did yesterday. Gave Perry a start against a right-handed pitcher, knowing that he's going to face 2 lefties in the next 2 days. You don't like to have your extra guys sitting on the bench too long, and he responded. He got 3 big hits yesterday, so he's comfortable now at the plate.
And still 3 balls and 2 strikes on Herbert Perry, who has yet to draw a walk in the 10 games he's played with Cleveland. Well, you mentioned Mike Hargrove. I got to think that Mike Hargrove and the man in the California dugout, Marcel Latzman, would be the leading candidates for Manager of the Year in the American League, as these 2 gentlemen have done a sensational job with their 2 clubs.
They use their entire roster, too.
Yep.
And I think it takes that to be successful. The bench is so important now in major leagues. You have to utilize your bench as much as possible.
First walk for Herbert Perry since joining the Cleveland Indians, and let's check in with John Saunders.
All right, guys, a couple of the brightest pitching prospects in the minors making their major league appearances tonight. Jeff Suppan, major league debut. First batter he faces, 3-2 count. Keith Lockhart, that's a solo home run. He struck out Gaetti and Hamlin, though, to get out of the Indian. But it's 3-0 Royals over the Red Sox in the 3rd inning. Another rookie, Jason Isringhausen. This guy with some great defense here. Rico Brogna with a great play, and then Isringhausen gets to the bag. He pitched in the AAA All-Star game a couple of nights ago. A great play there. He retired his first 6. It's scoreless in the 3rd inning. And Philadelphia and Colorado, Mike Mims, the pitcher, finds a hole here. Hayes comes in to score. His first career RBI for Mims. The game was 2-2 at that point. Eisenreich drives in the go-ahead run. It's 3-2 now. Back to Tom and Rick.
All righty, thank you, John. Here it's 4-1 in favor of California with Sandy Alomar at the plate. And that Mets ball club, Rick, supposedly some of the best young arms now in baseball.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to manage them the next 3 or 4 years down the road because they're loaded with pitching prospects. How about your first major league hitter and hits a dinger off you? You'll remember that the rest of your life.
Alomar pops it up. Shallow left center. DiSarcina calling off everyone. 2 down. Alomar hitting .423. He's only played in 10 games as he had his left knee operated on for the 4th time back in April. And so he is just now back and plays with a brace, as you can see it on that left knee. But Sandy Alomar is close to 100% as he's going to be for the rest of this year as he'll continue to strengthen that leg during the offseason. Top of the order now, and Ruben Amaro, who lined to center. 2 down, a runner on. 4-1, California. Good change up there from Brian Anderson.
And that's been the biggest difference with Anderson. He's still working, trying to get the real good feel for the changeup, but he's getting more confidence every start. Especially, you know, Yogi used to tell me, Yogi Berra used to say, first pitch changeup is a great pitch to call. He used to say, how come, Yogi? Why? He said, because most hitters are first ball fastball hitters. So you throw him the changeup on the first pitch, it looks like the fastball. You get a lot of easy outs that way. See, Yogi, he always had the bad reputation. Yogi was pretty smart.
A little smarter than he was given credit for. A ball and a strike on Amaro. And again, it's hit sharply. This time to left center, and Edmonds will run it down. So Brian Anderson has an easy 2nd inning, and the Angels maintain a 4-1 lead. Inning with the cleanup hitter Tim Salmon leading off for the Angels. California up 4-1 as Chad Ogea has struggled early. Gets a strike in there to Salmon, who reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st.
You brought up what did Mark Wiley talk to him about? Well, he just threw his first curveball of the ball game. So maybe he should start mixing in some curveballs. Looks like they're sitting on the changeup. You really, as a hitter, if you get comfortable against a pitcher where you can just zoom in on, say, the outside part of the plate, you're going to be successful. The catcher's job is to keep the hitter on like a rocking chair. Don't let him get comfortable in the batter's box.
Good fastball there, and the count goes a ball and 2 strikes. And you felt maybe even the Angels were picking up some of the Indian signs.
Well, as an old catcher, if a pitcher makes a great pitch, which OJ did against Edmonds, and he hits a bullet to left center for a double, you start wondering.
Fouled off through the 3rd base coaching box.
And as an old catcher, I used to try to get every advantage I could. I would love to relay signs in from 2nd base to my hitter, let him know what pitch is coming. Some guys used to say, I don't want to know. I never understood that.
I would think it'd be a huge advantage to know.
Yeah, especially if you tell them a changeup's coming, an off-speed pitch.
Let's pause right now for our ABC stations to identify themselves.
This is WXYZ-TV, Channel 7, Detroit.
Sold out Jacobs Field in downtown Cleveland. California's jumped out to an early 4-1 lead here in the 3rd inning with Tim Salmon leading off against Chad Ogea. A 1-2 pitch. Came inside with a fastball. 2-2 the count. What would be the reason for somebody not wanting to know what the pitch is?
Always having a little doubt that the runner on 2nd base really didn't have the signs, and that maybe the catcher would be aware of it. Danger.
That is lined sharply and over the head of Albert Bell. He cuts it off in front of the wall. Salmon will try for 2. The throw by Bell not nearly in time. And the Angels ringing doubles all over the park. They had 3 last inning, and Salmon opens the 3rd with another. As you check out what else is happening around baseball. So California's already ripped out 6 hits in this game, and they have banged out 4 two-base hits. And J.T. Snow, who got a big 2-out run scoring single in the first. After that, Chad O.J. balked in a run, so he's never been able to really settle in, as the Angels have had hits and base runners in each of the first 3 innings.
And you have to give an awful lot of credit to the Angel hitters. They've really taken the changeup away from O.J. That was the only changeup he threw to Salmon, and he hits a bullet for a double.
Popped up. Shallow left center as Vizquel goes out. Called off by Ruben Amaro. Well, it's time now for tonight's Toyota Diamond Dust Baseball Fact. Cecil Fielder leads the major leagues in both home runs and RBIs in the 1990s. The pride of Seton Hall, Rick Cerrone, is going to guess who the 3 players since 1900 are to lead the majors in both home runs and RBIs over the course of a full decade.
I'm horrible at trivia, but I would take a shot at Lou Gehrig. I would think Lou Gehrig would have to be close. Babe Ruth.
They're not going to give it away until the next day.
I was trying to find the bottom of the page to cheat.
Did you do that a lot at Seton Hall?
No, that's a nice institution. Very proud of Seton Hall. Craig Biggio, Mo Vaughn, John Valentin.
That's right. A school you wouldn't think of producing a lot of baseball players. Garrett Anderson hit the ball sharply to first his first time up. The rookie left fielder out in front of it. 0-2 the count.
I remember seeing Garrett Anderson 2 years ago in the Arizona Fall League, and everybody raved about the sweet swing. Smooth swing, doesn't try to do too much. And you know, guys like that have the easy, fluid swing are going to hit. And if you know your ability, and I think that's what Rod Carew becomes so important here, lets him know every day, just try to drive the ball back up the middle, use the gaps.
Struck him out. Well, Garrett Anderson has always been a hitter when you look at his numbers in the minor leagues. Last year, the 4th best prospect in the PCL when he hit .321, but O.J. got him here.
Right back to the changeup, and Anderson, you see how that ball just drops. Swings over the top. Your whole body starts to break down on a changeup. You commit yourself a little bit early.
And the instructions continue from Rod Carew.
Nothing negative, just positive. Yep. Stay with him, stay with him. Try to drive the changeup back up the middle.
2 down, 4-1 Angels, as Damian Easley, who bounced to third his first time up, takes the ball outside. O.J. now with a couple of strikeouts. Easley, his average has dipped to 196. He's a terrific talent, though. Didn't miss by much. Well, he's the young man that in 1993 he missed half the season with shin splints, and then they moved him at third to try to alleviate some of the pressure off his legs. He's back at second, but he really had a bad case of shin splints, which is unusual in this game. Think of that injury more in basketball. 3-0 the count now on Damian Easley.
Angels have scored all 4 of their runs so far with 2 outs. Big 2-out RBI hits. Easley's been struggling all year, and he's had a little hand injury that affects him.
Well, you know, he's taking here. 3 balls and a strike now on Easley, batting with 2 down, and Tim Salmon, who led off the inning with a double, still at second. Angels trying to pad their 3-run lead here in the third. The outfield very shallow for Easley. They play him straight away. Full count now on the Angels' second baseman.
You know, you wonder why a little hand injury. Well, hands are so important in hitting and swinging the bat. You know, when you don't feel comfortable, all of a sudden something starts breaking down. Your hands are so important in hitting, just like your legs. Most people think it's your upper body that you swing the bat with, but I really believe that you swing the bat with your legs. You get a good setup, just like golf.
Did he go too far? First base up, John Hirschbeck rings him up. O.J. with his 3rd strikeout to get the inning, and Easley not happy. So the leadoff double is wasted. It's still 4-1 California. You make the call, Rick. Did he go around for strike 3?
Usually it always looks like a guy does swing, but in this case, he's just trying to get out of the way of the baseball. But it shows you he's hitting 197 coming in today. The calls always go against you.
Guarantee you Frank Thomas right now is standing on first base with a base on balls.
Carlos Baerga, he's on first. They always pick on those poor guys hitting 197.
Is that strike close to home or what? It seemed a little sensitive. Here's Omar Vizquel, switch hitting shortstop, who doubled and scored Cleveland's run in the first, taking a strike. Omar Vizquel, maybe the best fielding shortstop in the American League. He's won the Gold Glove the last 2 years. Check swing, and it glanced off his bat. Indians bench coach Buddy Bell, a Gold Glover himself 6 times, says that Omar Vizquel has the best pair of hands he has ever seen on any player, whether it be watching or any player he's played with. He says Vizquel's by far the best. And on 3 pitches, retired as Brian Anderson gets his first strikeout. All righty, now time for the Toyota Diamond Dust answer. Any idea, Rick, who the 3 players since 1900 are to lead the majors in both homers and RBIs over the course of a full decade?
Well, I think Babe Ruth would have to be
1920s. Who in the 30s?
Oh, Jimmy Fox.
All right, boy, no cheating here. How about the 50s?
Oh,
take a shot at it.
Duke Snyder.
Well, there's no question that Seton Hall degree is.
See, if you wait and take your time, good things happen.
And if the person in front of you is smarter than you are.
Now, see, you wonder how I survived 16 years in the major leagues. I always used to go into the manager if he was playing me too much and say, hey, either you sit me or trade me. Overexposure will get you out of this game.
Ball and a strike to Carlos Baerga, who doubled in the Indians' run his first time up. Baerga is as good a hitter as there is in the game. And, of course, twice in his career did what no other second baseman has done other than Rogers Hornsby. And he hammers it to deep left. If it's fair, forget it. And it is foul. Oh, we may have an argument. Jeff Newman, third base coach, going out to Terry Kraft. That was extremely close. And Mike Hargrove is soon to join this debate. Well, I don't know. We'll see a replay, and you be the judge.
It's hard to tell. Here comes the ball. If you see the ball all the way, that's a foul ball. Foul ball?
Right
I think
call.
it's a foul ball.
By inches.
Just by inches, so it's the right call.
Because if it glances off that pole, the ball obviously would have changed direction somehow. I wonder if Carlos thought it was fair.
He knew he hit it, all of it. And you know, the ball really didn't have much hook on it.
No, he hit it too hard.
Yeah, he hit it too hard. It got out there in a hurry. Usually a right-hand hitter that gets out in front of a pitch like that, the ball will hook. That ball kind of stayed straight. We'd have to let Mike know after the ball game it was the right call.
Yep.
Close, but no cigar.
Ball and 2 strikes on Baerga, and Jeff Newman. Something that John Shulock said struck him funny. Usually, when you see somebody hammer a ball like that, he's retired soon thereafter. Not often do you see a guy hit 2 balls like that.
You know, the interesting thing right now, if we could, that overhead camera showed how Baerga has moved way up in front of the box. And remember I talk about adjusting every at bat? Baerga's constantly moving around in the batter's box.
2-2 the count. Pop into shallow right, foul territory. Snow near the stands. Did he hang on? What a catch by J.T. Snow. As good a first baseman as you'll find defensively in the American League. And he went into the stands where that ball is fair game.
Into the stands. Now, I tell you, nice fans here in Cleveland. This is your home ballpark. You got to keep JT from getting that ball.
Or they may be a part of his pass list. J.T. Snow with a terrific play to retire Baerga. 2 down, still 4-1. California here in the 3rd, and Albert Bell, who was robbed of a hit by Anderson his first time up.
I would say Albert Bell has to be one of the most intimidating hitters at the plate. Both eyes focused on the baseball, menacing glare to the pitcher. And I really like the way he loads up his backside, gets all his weight, lifts up his front foot, gets his weight back, and then explodes through the ball.
2-0 the count on Bell. Albert yesterday with a 2-run homer in the 7th inning to tie the game against Oakland.
Both eyes focused on the pitcher.
3 balls and no strikes, and he doesn't have to bother looking down to Jeff Newman to see if he has the green light. On deck is Manny Ramirez, as Bell leads the league not only in doubles but extra base hits as well. Manny Ramirez on deck, now 3rd in the league. Forget it if it's fair. Another call by Terry Kraft as he hit that to the home run porch foul.
He got that one right. He's shaking his head saying, yeah, I got this one right. Remember I talked about how a ball hooks if a hitter gets way out in front? Well, that ball hooked an awful lot.
Well, you can't hit a ball much further.
That one's a little bit easier to call, Terry.
He knew he got all of it. He almost hit that to the Cleveland Cavaliers' new arena, Gund Arena, which is just across the way from Jacobs Field. Ball 4, so Bell with a 2-out walk. The 3rd walk given up by Brian Anderson here in the first 3 innings. And with 2 down, the Indians have a base runner down 3 as Manny Ramirez steps to the plate.
Tell the truth, Tom, don't you like to see a hitter get a 3-0 count and he gets the green light and then puts a charge into a baseball? If you're going to swing it, go ahead and swing it hard. Albert didn't disappoint.
Well, and that's why, too, you'll see sometimes hitters not get the green light at 3-0. They get too impatient and end up taking a half swing, popping it up.
Exactly. They expand the zone. They start swinging. They go, well, I got the green light. I'll swing it. But you still got to be sitting on a zone, a pitch in your area that you want to drive.
Manny Ramirez walked his first time up.
I like his quick bat. He really does have a quick bat. He gets through the hitting area. No time fast.
Just 23 years old, Manny Ramirez. 2 balls, no strikes on Ramirez. Manny Ramirez has faced the California Angels just 5 times as far as official at-bats. In lifetime against the Angels, he's 3 for 5 with 2 homers and 6 RBIs. He bats now with 2 down, a runner on. California up 4-1 in the 3rd. 3-0 the count. He threw him a changeup. Dave Winfield waits on deck, and I would imagine he has the green light.
Most of the Cleveland hitters, they get the green light from the time they leave their apartment in the morning to come to the ballpark.
Cleveland leads the league in homers with 110. California 3rd with 95. Looked like he was taking all the way. 3 balls and a strike on Ramirez.
Well, again, maybe he was sitting on the ball middle in. That was a fastball that just nipped the outside part of the plate. He has very good patience as a hitter.
The outfield straight away and deep for Ramirez. 3-1 the count. And they pick Bell off. What a great move by Anderson. Oh, Albert Bell got caught leaning the wrong way, and the Indians down 3 run themselves out of an inning. As we go to the 4th, Chad Oche settled down in that 3rd inning after California battered him around in the first 2. Right back to him. Out number 1. Well, Baseball Night in America is brought to you by Sears. Come see the many sides of Sears. By MCI, the company that brings you Proof Positive. And by Pepsid AC Acid Controller. You can be heartburn free with new Pepsid AC. Night upon us in downtown Cleveland. What a beautiful evening. With the Angels up 4-1 as the number 9 hitter, Gary DiSarcina, takes a strike. Actually, with DiSarcina batting 9th, it's like having 2 leadoff hitters.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier in the telecast that the only thing the Angels don't do is steal bases. I believe only 29 going into tonight.
Ramirez Andrews has it measured in right field for out number 2.
The way they swing the bat, we talked about utilizing the hit and run. Marcel Latchman will utilize that. So you have to improvise when you don't have team speed. But again, it's not affecting them. They're leading the major leagues in runs scored.
Milwaukee really hammering Oakland now as the Brewers had a big series over the weekend in which they played extremely well. 2 down. Tony Phillips, the leadoff man, takes a strike. He got a key 2-out RBI double in the second. He is 1 for 2 tonight. Phillips came from the Detroit Tigers on April 13th. That was actually during spring training for Chad Curtis. Detroit wanted to get younger. California wanted to get the versatility and the leadership of Tony Phillips. And boy, he's delivered both as he lines a single to right field. He is 2 for 3. Tony Phillips is just a terrific player who can really play all over the diamond, although California uses him primarily at third.
Now you remember how far off the plate, it still shows he can handle the fastball inside. Phillips took a changeup off the scoreboard the last time at bat. Hitters constantly have to make the adjustment.
Well, the Angels so far have done all their damage with 2 outs. They lead 4-1. They got 2 runs with 2 out in the first on a RBI hit by J.T. Snow and a balk, and then scored twice in the second with 2 down when Phillips and Edmonds had RBI doubles. And here is Jim Edmonds now with 62 runs batted in. He has walked and doubled tonight. Phillips a threat to steal as Edmonds fouls it off for strike 1. Mo Vaughn leads the American League in RBIs with 64, so Edmonds now just 2 behind. He's a guy that is so intense. He lost 17 pounds now since the start of the season. He just works himself into such a frenzy. And although he was saying before the game tonight, he said some of that, he lifted an awful lot of weight during the offseason. He didn't mind losing some of it, but Rod Carew was saying he's just that kind of an intense competitor.
How about that big league meal money that he gets paid? I know they get an awful lot of money. Start eating some steaks. Can't afford to lose 17 pounds during the course of the season. Still a long way to go.
1 strike pitch to him, and it's 0-2 now on Jim Edmonds, who made the All-Star team, as did Gary DiSarcina, as did Lee Smith. Edmonds last year as a rookie hit .273. He was a 7th round pick by the Angels in 1988. Runner goes at first as Edmonds fouls it back. It was interesting too last year. He missed 5 games when he was struck on the left side of the neck by an errant throw by Mike Gallego in a game at Yankee Stadium. He was removed from the game on a stretcher and taken to the hospital for x-rays. En route to the hospital, the ambulance driver became lost, and Tim Meade, the assistant general manager who was in the ambulance with them, was forced to pay the toll. They got to the toll booth. The ambulance driver didn't have any money. Tim Meade came through with the money. They finally got him to the hospital.
Well, Tony Phillips was put in motion that time. He's got 8 steals. The only really base threat for the Angels.
A ball and 2 strikes to Jim Edmonds. When you talk about these 2 franchises, we mentioned Tim Meade, the assistant general manager, Bill Bavasi, now the general manager. Those 2 have done just a terrific job in turning around this franchise, as have John Hart and Danny O'Dowd with the Cleveland Indians, after Hank Peters really set the foundation. 2 very young franchises, not only player-wise, but as far as the front offices are concerned. And in some ways, these 2 franchises now mirror each other.
Yeah, I really think so. Especially, you think Angels were 47 and 68 last year. The worst record in the American League.
Again, fouled out of play. The count stays a ball and 2 strikes.
And their turnover this year has been the surprise of the season. Yep. I think the Indians were kind of expected to have a tremendous team and run away with their division. We never really expected the Chicago White Sox to drop off like they have, but they lost an awful lot from last year's team.
And there you look at the owner of the Indians on the left, Dick Jacobs, and general manager John Hart.
You know, the thing about John Hart, too, he's not only doing it here in the major league level with the Indians, but he's doing it in the AAA level. They have veteran players, a Billy Ripken, a Torey Lovello, for insurance policies, just in case somebody goes down. And I think it's smart baseball. He said he'd love to have a prospect at every position, but he doesn't have one. And the blend of veterans and the younger talent on the Cleveland Indians, what has made them so successful. You can learn an awful lot from a veteran player.
4-1, Angels lead at fourth inning. 2 down, 2-2 the count with Phillips at first. He bluffs a move to second as Edmonds hit it right on the button, and Ramirez makes a rather dramatic catch in right field. So Edmonds hits a shot, but to no avail. Cleveland comes to bat in the bottom of the fourth, trailing by 3 as Manny Ramirez, Dave Winfield, and Jim Thome will take their shot at left-hander Brian Anderson. Ramirez skies one into shallow right center. Salmon waiting. 1 pitch, 1 out, and let's check in again with John Saunders.
All right, guys, for Jason Isringhausen of the Mets, it has been quite a debut. He retired the first 10 he faced before he gave up a walk, and then Mark Grace gets to him for the first hit of the game. A fielder's choice scores a run, and then Gonzalez here driving in Sammy Sosa to make it a 2-0 game. But Isringhausen in the AAA All-Star game just a few days ago, pitching very well for the Mets tonight. 2-0 in the 5th. Back to Tom and Rick.
Well, the Mets out of the running as far as the playoffs, and so they're going with the young kids. Cubs still a contender in the Central Division, although the Reds obviously the team to beat in the National League Central. In fact, a lot of folks already in Ohio talking about the possibility of an I-71 World Series. Long way, though, to go before we get to that point as Dave Winfield has the count go 2-0.
It was nice to see Winnie the other day go in the clubhouse. He says, Rick, come here, I got to show you. Twins. Yep. Boy and a girl, 9 months old.
Popped up. JT Snow has room. 2 down. So don't forget, on Wednesday night on ABC, get in the holiday spirit. Following Me and the Boys, it's Christmas in July for Grace and Ellen, and Halloween for Roseanne. Then when the holidays are over, stay tuned for Primetime Live. It all happens Wednesday on ABC. Two down for Jim Thome. Well, you're talking about Dave Winfield, only the second time in baseball history that teammates have played together, each with 3,000 hits, and Dave Winfield and Eddie Murray. Murray, of course, right now on the DL. Thome fouled out his first time. And Anderson has settled down nicely and has now retired 7 in a row. Angels lead it 4-1 in the 4th. They've out-hit the Indians 7-2.
And Thome is right on top of the plate.
And lines a bullet off the glove of Easley. Boy, he timed that leap, but he just couldn't hang on. And Thome with a 2-out single.
Talking about how Thome is right on top of the dish, doesn't give in on left-hand pitchers. That's been his biggest turnaround. Look at how he drives the ball right through the ball. Right on top of the dish. And you know, it makes it very difficult. Boy, Easley got way up there. That ball was a scorcher. It makes it difficult for a catcher to really call pitches when a guy sits right on top of the plate, because the ball away becomes a ball down the middle to him.
Herbert Perry, who walked, takes the ball outside. What do you do then? Just bust him inside?
You bust him in, but you know what? He's so far on top of the plate, anything inside is a ball. So he's really made the outside pitch more of a ball down the middle. Makes it difficult for the catcher to pitch selection.
Good change up there, and the count evens at a ball and a strike to Herbert Perry. Brian Anderson, his 7th start for California. He does not have a complete game this year. He came in here with 11 walks and only 9 strikeouts in 34 innings of work. He's walked 3 so far in this one, striking out 1. Big pickoff, though, last inning when he got Albert Bell, and the count was 3-1 on Manny Ramirez.
No place for Albert to be going. You're taught as a base runner, make sure the ball's going home. You're not stealing a base in that situation. You don't want to take the bat out of Manny Ramirez's hands. I always thought it's difficult for a left-handed pitcher to concentrate when there's a runner on first base, because you see the runner. As a left-handed pitcher, you're facing the runner. I would think you'd lose a little bit of your concentration, your focus on throwing strikes. I would think it has to be a distraction. I mean, you're looking right at the runner. This is a great look from the third base camera. Now, a base runner's taught once that front foot clears the rubber, you can run.
Lazy fly into center, and Edmonds will wait for it, and Brian Anderson continues to keep the Indians off balance. It's still 4-1 Angels after 4. It's a great ballpark, but they still haven't come up with an ice cream that doesn't melt before you get back to your seat.
And it has been warm here this weekend, just like it has all over the East Coast.
It's been in the upper 90s. Tonight, though, it's actually almost like a cold front has moved through. 84 degrees. No breeze to speak of, though, as that pitch is ripped foul by Greg Myers. And one thing about the Angels here in the first 5 innings, they are getting some great shots at Chad Ogea.
It's all that tape work, and they have tapes that they study. They try to find patterns, and you know that they were sitting on changeups early in the ball game.
Myers 1 for 2 with a single, the DH tonight. He skies this one into shallow left center as Bell and Amaro converge, and Ruben Amaro will put it away. Now the cleanup hitter, Tim Salmon, 1 for 2 with a double.
Right fielder, number 15, Tim Salmon.
We've seen the Indians come back many times this year. No lead is safe at Jacobs Field.
Yeah, one thing, talking about the similarities, you mentioned the Indians. They have 24 come from behind victories. The Angels have posted 20 wins when coming from behind. Angels have won 8 games in their last at bat. Cleveland has won 13 in their final at bat. 0-1 the count on Salmon.
Both teams try to make it a 6-inning ball game.
Yep.
And they've been successful at doing that. Where I mean, they can get it to their setup guys and give it to their dominant closers.
Salmon out in front of it, 0-2 the count.
You know, it changes the whole game if you can do that successfully. I remember back with the Yankees in the early 80s, we had Ron Davis and Goose Gossage. We made it a 6-inning ball game. You had the lead going into the top of the 7th. The game was over. The only time it came back to haunt us was in the 80 playoffs. George Brett hit a 3-run homer off the Goose. The only game, we were 81-0 with the lead going into the 7th inning. Wow. Only game we lost was in the playoffs. So that's why there's no certainties, no guarantees that even though the Indians have the best record in baseball right now, are going to win the World Series.
2-2 the count now on Tim Salmon. Well, both these ball clubs have thrived with their bullpens, and that was going to be important from the get-go this year because of the shortened spring training and with starters only going 5 innings at best in the early going. Got him. 4th strikeout for Ogea as Salmon is down swinging.
Going to more fastballs. There's the 4-seam fastball that he runs on the outside part of the plate. He's kind of gone away from his bread and butter pitch, the changeup. I mean, I would too if they're tattooing it all.
Sure.
Used his curveballs more, and now establishing the fastball. I think you really have to establish the fastball early in the ball game.
Angels lead it 4-1. Bases empty, 2 down in the 5th for J.T. Snow, who has singled in a run and flied to center. But in talking about early in the season, both these ball clubs got off to good starts because when other teams' bullpens were failing, these two ball clubs were winning games late. As Snow hits it a ton the opposite way, and Bell leaps up. It's high off the wall. Snow may try for 3. And he makes a big turn as Bell throws back, and Snow in with his 2nd hit. And the Angels have now collected 5 doubles in the game as 4 times now they have tattooed that 19-foot wall in left and left center.
There's the fastball on the outside part of the plate. Remember we talked about how Rod Carew has gotten J.T. Snow to start utilizing the whole field.
Yes.
Well, that's a perfect example. I kind of like that. I like the wall in left field. It adds character to Jacobs Field.
Well, of course, it's not the Green Monster at Fenway, which is 37 feet high, but it's 19 feet high here, and it certainly has an added dimension to the ballgame. It, throughout the year, will bring people out of their seats because you never know if someone's hit it enough to clear the wall. And it will take home runs away.
But that was a great at-bat by J.T. Snow. Exactly what Rod Carew was talking to us earlier today, saying how he's got to get through to him, that he's got to utilize the whole field. Well, he came into the game hitting .303, so it's paying big dividends. You try to pull that ball that's on the outside part of the plate, you're going to hit nothing but weak ground balls. And you talked about the early home run success he had when he first came up. And that'll tend to make hitters try to pull more. You really can't force pulling. You'll hit more home runs when you're trying to just drop the head and hit a ball in the gaps like Rod Carew really stresses to his hitters.
The Angels have now out-hit the Indians 8-3. They lead 4-1 in the 5th with 2 down. Garrett Anderson 0 for 2 at the plate. A ball and a strike on Anderson. There was a good change up there. A ball and 2 strikes.
How about the look of Rod Carew with the glasses? He had the pen, the notebook in his hand. The professor. Hey, I tell you what, guys, this guy's a Hall of Famer. You can learn an awful lot from this man. And he's showing this year. See the little book? He keeps a count on every pitch. He wants to see patterns. So the next time they face Chad O.J., they'll have a better idea.
Got him. So the 5th strikeout for O.J. and the 2-out double does no damage. Halfway through this one, Angels 4, the Indians 1.
California leading Cleveland 4-1. Tom and Rick will pick up the call in a moment, but first Jeff Suppan, the rookie, the comebacker from Tommy Goodwin. He makes a good play to stop it, but cannot get the out. 5 2/3 for Suppan, 9 hits, 4 strikeouts and 2 walks. Not bad considering he was called up from Double-A. 3-0. The Royals have the lead. The Orioles and the Rangers. Kevin Brown facing Rusty Greer, and Greer gets a hold of this one, takes it out to left center field, and it's gone for the home run. As the tie is broken, the Rangers now leading it 2-1, playing the 6th inning. Back to Tom and Rick.
Well, that Texas game, a huge one, as they trail the California Angels by 1 game in the Wild Western Division. The West really turning out to be the best race in the American League. As Ruben Amaro with 1 down takes a curveball straight. The Central Division, really the race in reality is over. Cleveland 14.5 games up on both Kansas City and Milwaukee, and in the East, Boston leading Detroit by 4. Amaro has lined out, flied out, and the 3rd time he's been put out by the center fielder. 2 down as Brian Anderson, after giving up the 1st inning run, has really kept the Indians in check. 4-1 Angels lead it, 2 down in the bottom of the 5th with Omar Vizquel to the plate. Has doubled and been called out on strikes. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent from the Office of the Commissioner.
And you know, Brian Anderson really hasn't pitched inside as much as I thought he would. But he's been very successful. He's been nipping on the outside part of the plate, using the changeup, the curveball.
And he has an easy 1-2-3 5th inning. Couple of fly balls to center and a ground out after 5. California still on top. 5 innings in the books with the Angels on top, getting 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd. Chad O.J. and Brian Anderson both have gone the distance, as Easley showing a bunt. He has grounded out and struck out. O.J. has struck out 5 and walked 1. He has shut out the Angels over the last 3 innings. California doing all of its work tonight after 2 men were out. 1-1 the count on Easley.
More fastballs, trying to locate it. This is more of what our scouting report was on Chad O.J. Real good bulldog type pitcher. Will come right after you with the fastball, pitch inside, use his changeup. Maybe he just fell in love with his changeup too early tonight. I love that view from behind home plate. Really gives a fan what it's like to be a hitter or even a catcher in the major leagues. Pitchers are amazing the way they can make the ball move. And you know, once in a while you had guys that used to cheat. I saw a couple of them today. Phil and Joe Niekro here.
3-1 to count.
A couple of my teammates, Nuxies. Phil and Joe Niekro, you know, they're with the Coors Silver Light Bullets.
That's right. The women's professional baseball team playing an exhibition game here.
I'll never forget. You remember Joe Niekro when on the mound in Minnesota? All of a sudden, the file comes out of his back pocket. And he said, how did that get there? I'll never forget the expression on his face.
Well, Phil Niekro is the manager of that Silver Bullets team. He won 318 games. His brother Joe won 221. And for some reason, Phil Niekro's still not in baseball's Hall of Fame.
He will be there.
Question is, why isn't he there already? Full count, and Easley coaxes a leadoff walk. And the second given up by Chad O.J.
Now, how come I brought up pitchers cheating and I had to mention Phil and Joe? They're going to be mad at me now. But you know, I caught both of them, and that's very difficult. Phil threw a knuckleball, the easy knuckleball. Joe threw the hard one. And I think Bob Uecker's right. He said the only way to catch a knuckleball is wait till it stops rolling.
Jim Poole will begin to loosen in the Cleveland bullpen as Mark Wiley to the mound. Well, you mentioned the Niekro brothers, and they indirectly are playing a key role in the American League's Eastern Division race, because Boston signed Tim Wakefield, who was put on waivers by Pittsburgh, and it just so happens that the Silver Bullets were training in Fort Myers, where the Red Sox train. The Red Sox sent Tim Wakefield there. He bumped into the Niekros. Pretty soon the three got together, and it was Joe and Phil Niekro that really turned around Tim Wakefield, convinced him that believe it or not, you are a man even if you throw a knuckleball. They were saying today how Tim Wakefield was concerned about how he wasn't looked upon as a real pitcher, and he had lost total confidence in his knuckleball. They convinced him the only way he was going to succeed was throw that knuckleball with confidence. And Wakefield, something like 8-1 right now, and has become the Boston ace as the Red Sox continue to lead in the East.
It's amazing how things work out. Just happened to be in spring training together. Yep. A little conversation with two guys who threw knuckleballs. I think it was a great opportunity for Wakefield, and he's responded. You give him a lot of the credit, because he still has to go out there and throw strikes with that knuckleball, which to me is the most difficult thing to do.
Fabregas at the plate, 0 for 2 tonight. He squares to bunt, pops it up. Alomar just missed making the diving catch.
Nice hustle.
Well, when Sandy Alomar's healthy, there's not a better defensive catcher or an all-around catcher in the American League.
Now, your first move as a catcher is up forward, trying to get the ball ahead, so you actually have to restart yourself. Made a nice hustle, nice effort.
The Indians tried to convince Sandy after the last knee surgery that maybe he would have to tone it down a bit when he's playing, because he's always been an all-out guy, and maybe pick his spots where maybe he could pull back a little bit. But as Sandy said, there's only one way he knows how to play the game. The runner goes, and on the hit and run, Fabregas fouls it off. The count goes to 1-2 strikes.
Yeah, I was just going to say that they're going to get ready. It looks like he shortened up his lead at first base. As a catcher, that was a dead giveaway that it's a hit and run zone.
Now, why is that?
Because now he doesn't want to get picked off. He's got a one-way lead where he's going to break. He shortened up his lead. They tried 2 bunt attempts. That's just a little game that base runners will play. They'll shorten their lead up, make sure that the pitcher's going to commit to home, and then break.
1-2 the count. He stays put, and Fabregas hits a lazy fly down the left field line. Bell in foul territory, makes the catch for out number 1. The throw back, a terrific throw, but easily back in plenty of time.
Albert's had an opportunity to show off the throwing arm today. Many doubles hit over his head off the wall. Here, Easley had a little big lead at first base. Here, I'm going to show you. I got something to throw with.
1 down as Gary DiSarcina to the plate. DiSarcina, the number 9 hitter, has doubled and flied out. Now batting .323, 10th in the American League in hitting.
And the hit and run is still an opportunity right here. A good offensive weapon. DeSarcina, good contact hitter. We talked about how Marcel Latchman likes to utilize the hit and run.
DeSarcina still wears number 33 on the back of his gray jersey, and he formerly had worn number 11, but when Larry Bird retired in 1992, the next day, DeSarcina, a Massachusetts native, changed to 33 in honor of Larry Bird. Nothing and 1 the count on DeSarcina, who is from Malden, Massachusetts.
First and second. Right-hand hitter up. You can take advantage of the hole. Look for a fastball out over the plate and just try to drive it between the hole between first and second. That's why the left-hand hitter has so much advantage in baseball. This situation, all he has to do is hit a little weak ground ball and he'll find a base hit. First baseman has to hold that runner on. Look at the big hole. That doesn't mean the right-hand hitter can't take advantage of it also.
O.J. pitching him away, missed, and the count evens at 1-1. Angels lead it 4-1. We are in the 6th inning with 1 out and 1 on. And again, DeSarcina, a long look down at third base coach Rick Burleson, former Red Sox, former Angel. Joe Madden, the coach at first for California. Well, he was a great shortstop until he tore his rotator cuff.
And that was back years ago when they
Yes.
didn't have the modern technology that they do today. You see many players coming back from the same type of injury.
OJ's had trouble slowing down the running game this year. Team successful 5 of the 6 times they've tried to steal, and DeSarcina puts a charge into this one, but Bell has room in the middle of the track. DeSarcina just missed. 2 down. Top of the order now, and Tony Phillips, who is 2 for 3 with a double and a single. He drove in a run back in the 2nd inning with his 2-out double. OJ now has worked 5 2/3, giving up those 4 runs in the first 2 innings.
All with 2 outs. Just 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning. Hurt himself with the balk call in the 1st inning. That gave him a 3-run. But now you would expect Tony Phillips, the veteran, to take advantage of the hole. You see Baerga now has tried to take away that hole. See, this is the little games that go on inside a game. Baerga knows now the hole is up the middle. So it's up to the hitter. You really can't direct the ball. Wade Boggs, they say, can direct the ball. It's very difficult to do that.
Again, trying to keep him close, as easily dove back safely. Angels lead it 4-1, 6th inning with 2 down. The Indians in the outfield playing Phillips a bit as a pull hitter to right field and medium deep. Phillips does have 14 home runs, 10 of them left-handed.
And Manny Ramirez maybe not respecting his power as much as he should. He's a little shallow in right field.
Pitch away. And a ball and no strikes on Phillips.
Phillips, another guy that makes it very difficult to defense because he can hit the ball all over, can pull the ball when he's ahead in the count, can take the fastball the other way. Makes it very difficult to where to play them.
Think about Tony Phillips. In his 7 years with Oakland, he was primarily a utility player. He was a utility player in 5 years with Detroit, but a utility player who played every day.
Right. His bat got him in the lineup. Yep. And that's the one reason. You swing that pole, you'll find your way in the lineup.
2 balls and no strikes now on Tony Phillips. He's 36 years old, but really has not shown any signs of slowing down. And another guy that really keeps himself in terrific shape.
And he's got an unusual stance. It kind of reminds you a little bit of Rod Carew. Look at the crouch. Rod Carew was very difficult. See the crouch right there? All legs. And then he weight shifts into the ball.
Got him on a changeup, 2-1 the count, and there again throwing a changeup in a fastball count.
2-0 changeup. And Tony, go ahead. I'm going to let it go. I'm ahead in the count. That's only 1 strike. I still have 2 more. Let it rip.
And he'll surprise you with his power. He's only 5'10", 175, but as we saw tonight, he took a ball off the wall the opposite way. Two and two to count. Another changeup.
Yeah, I like when a pitcher backs up the changeup. Back it up. 2 in a row. Sometimes Chad will throw 3 in a row. See, it just throws the timing. I talked about the weight shift. Tony's down there in that crouch, explodes through the ball. The changeup throws off that timing. The professor looks more like a professor with the glasses, the pen, the pad.
And still has a tough time flying. He really has a difficult time with flights. Hit on the ground towards second. And Baerga will throw out Phillips. So O.J. works out of it. It's the middle of the 6th. Angels still up 4-1. It'll be the heart of the order for the Cleveland Indians. Carlos Baerga, Albert Bell, and Manny Ramirez as they try to turn around this 4-1 deficit. Brian Anderson has pitched to beauty through 5. He has walked 3, striking out 1, and gets a strike on Baerga, who doubled in the Indians' run in the 1st and then fouled out to 1st in the 3rd when J.T. Snow made a terrific leaping catch into the stands.
Anderson's really making his living on the outside part of the plate. It's about time now. They've seen him twice. They want to make a little adjustment. Start reaching out, going out there, force him to throw the ball inside. He has not shown that he's going to throw the ball inside tonight. So go ahead, take it away from him.
Both these pitchers, O.J. and Anderson, facing the Indians and Angels for the first time ever in their young careers. 2 balls and a strike on Carlos Baerga. Baerga twice in his career, hitting .300 with 20 homers, 100 RBIs, and 200 hits. Only he and Rogers Hornsby have ever performed that as second baseman. Way outside, 3-1 the count. And Baerga still the only player in baseball history to hit home runs from each side of the plate in the same inning. And finally, Jacobs Field comes to life. The 20th consecutive sellout here at Jacobs Field. Ball 4. Let's pause right now for our ABC stations to identify themselves.
This is WXYZ TV, Channel 7, Detroit.
With Rick Cerone, I'm Tom Hamilton. Glad you could join us on a gorgeous summer evening in downtown Cleveland. Here at Jacobs Field, California still on top, 4-1. Carlos Baerga with a leadoff walk, the 4th given up by Brian Anderson. And now Albert Bell to the plate. Hit the ball sharply back to the mound his first time up. Anderson made a terrific play on him, then walked in the 3rd. Anderson, who has a good move. Bell hits a fly to shallow right center. Edmonds calling off Salmon and makes the grab for out number 1. Baseball Night in America, brought to you by Chevrolet. The cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. By Reebok. And by Calcium-Rich Tums. Tums helps wipe out heartburn and gives you calcium. Manny Ramirez has walked and flied out. 1 down, 1 on. Indians down 3.
Tom, it took a little while for the fans to get into this ball game. They're not like the announcers. We've been into it since 5 o'clock waiting for this one to start.
Little number, third base side, fair ball. Fabregas makes a nice play to throw out Ramirez. And after Baerga drew the walk, the next 2 hitters go after the first pitch and are retired.
And both pitches out of the strike zone. A little over anxious. Here's the changeup. Remember Yogi? Yogi, I gave Yogi the credit. First pitch changeup. There it is. And George does a nice job getting the ball fair before it rolls foul. And a good strong throw to first. Sometimes you have to give the pitcher an opportunity to get wild. You know, Cleveland, they've been aggressive the whole season. So, I mean, how can I knock them for being over-aggressive?
Well, here's a guy that's been attacking the baseball for 22 years on the big league level. Never a day in the minor leagues. David Winfield just off the DL today. He's 0 for 2. And he takes a strike. Baerga now at second with 2 down. Bottom of the 6th inning. California on top of the Tribe, 4-1.
And I asked Winnie, I said, Winnie, you still using that big bat? He said, yeah, it's 35 and a half, 34 ounces. He says, you think I use a big bat? You should check out Eddie Murray's. 36-36.
Winfield now 43 years old. Still in terrific shape as the count evens.
Probably one of the best high fastball hitters I've ever seen play. Winnie can hit a line drive. You can probably put all the clothes in Cleveland on.
He still has terrific rip at the ball, and there it is as he drives it to fairly deep center, but Edmonds back has room, and the Indians retired. So California still on top, 4-1 after 6. We'll return with Baseball Night in America after this from our ABC State Historic Buildings in downtown Cleveland. A packed house at Jacobs Field. California leads at 4-1. We go to the 7th, and Jim Poole takes over for Chad Oj. Poole, a left-hander, 6'2", 203 pounds. Jim Poole in his 4th big league season. First man he faces, Jim Edmonds. First ball swinging, lines a single to center, so the southpaw doesn't slow down Edmonds, who's 2 for 3. Mike Hargrove hoping to turn around this California lineup that tonight features 6 left-handed hitters, including the DH Greg Myers.
Well, there's really no need for Marcel Latchman to flip and pull guys out of the game. He has a 4-1 lead. He knows that Jose Mesa is their big closer. Julian Tavares is the setup man. He wants to keep the left-hand hitters in the lineup as long as possible.
Myers has singled in 3 at-bats. Jim Poole is making his 23rd appearance, a record of 1-3 with an earned run average of 3.51. He'll sink the fastball, throws more of a slurve than anything. He'll call it a slider or slurve, and changeup. Angels now about hit the Indians 9-3. Poole, an interesting story, is he still wears number 62, which is not a normal baseball number, but he came to the Cleveland Indians on a minor league contract this spring, and when you're not part of the roster, you get those football type numbers. And Poole decided to keep that because he says, every day I come into the clubhouse and look at number 62 hanging in my locker, and I realize how close I was to being out of Major League Baseball. He says it's great incentive.
You know what's also great is that he's left-handed, and he's got the big sweeping curveball.
Does help, doesn't it?
And he can drop down from the side. That helps an awful lot too. You've seen so many more specialty guys.
Yes.
Left-handers especially, that they come in just to face the one left-hand hitter.
Pretty good rip there by Greg Myers as the count goes 2-1.
Same pitchers will use every advantage they can. Poole now working off the first base side of the rubber. Makes it a little different arm angle, a little angle to the plate. I mean, it makes it look like he's almost coming from the coach's box at first base. And the toughest thing for a left-hand hitter is to stay in there and not bail out.
Myers cuts and misses, and the count evens at 2-2. Greg Myers will always be part of a trivia question when someone says who was Nolan Ryan's last strikeout victim. The answer will be Greg Myers. But he has plenty of company as far as being a victim of Nolan Ryan.
He sure does. How about Joe Niekro today? He comes running up
That's
to me,
right.
and he says, "Here's the last guy I struck out in the big leagues." I would never know that. Joe remembered it.
You were his last victim, huh? 2-2 pitch. Little excuse me swing hit to first. If nothing else, the runner advances to second with 1 down. And don't forget that coming up on Saturday on ABC Sports, Masters champion Ben Crenshaw, U.S. Open winner Corey Pavin, and the world's top players will travel to historic St. Andrews as we begin coverage of the British Open Golf Championship. Then 2 of the most exciting names in golf meet. Nick Price and Greg Norman will tee off on Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. And on ABC's Wild World of Sports, the Tour de France will roll into the final stages and an inside look at Iron Mike Tyson. That's all coming up on Saturday on ABC Sports. So the Angels with a runner in scoring position with 1 down, leading by 3, and pitching coach Mark Wiley coming to the mound. Now the Indians bullpen is quiet. Tim Salmon will be facing Jim Poole, and they may be discussing here whether or not they want to pitch to Tim Salmon.
Well, JT Snow's a switch hitter on deck. You have Garrett Anderson, a lefty, after that. So this is more probably a little quick scouting report. You do have a base open. I always felt it was tough when a pitching coach would run out and say, listen, we have a base open. Let's make a good pitch. Let's not walk them, but let's make good pitches to them. And me, either you walk them or you pitch to them. So many times you'd go back shaking your head as a catcher saying, well, geez, what did he mean by that? Do I have to throw them all breaking balls? You know, so many times guys would get hits that way.
They will pitch to him, but carefully as he takes a strike inside. Salmon is 0 for 1 lifetime against Jim Poole. Tonight, Salmon 1 for 3 with a double. He has tremendous power to all parts of the park. Nice stop by Alomar, darting to his left as the count evens at 1-1. Salmon, his rookie year, had 31 home runs. He had 23 last year in his second season before the strike, and he's gone deep 16 times again this year. His club up 4-1. We are in the 7th with 1 down and a runner at second. And Poole came inside and missed. 2-1 the count.
And you can see Alomar again shifting real late on the pitch. Pitcher knows the ball. He wants a fastball in, but Alomar's taking his time, shifting late. And again, there's the runner on second base that we wondered earlier in the game whether they were relaying signs, maybe tipping off location.
Hit sharply, knocked down by Thome. That saved a run from scoring. It'll be an infield single for Salmon, but if that gets by Thome, it's a double and a run scores, and in fact Jim Edmonds had to stay in second. So the double play possibility is still there with JT Snow to the plate. The ball actually didn't even hit the glove. It came up and hit Thome on the backside. And here comes JT Snow. I believe, boy, they've charged Thome with an error. Wow.
Supposed to get the benefit of the doubt at home. That's a tough ball down the third base line.
Now Snow will turn around and bat right-handed for the first time. He's been a much more productive hitter from the other side. Snow tonight has singled in a run, flied out and doubled, so he's 2 for 3, lifting his average to .307. Snow with 13 homers, but only 1 right-handed. And his batting average from the right side is 80 points lower than it is when he bats left-handed.
Well, you see so many more right-handed starters. As a hitter, I would think, I wasn't a switch hitter, but I would think you'd feel a lot more comfortable hitting from your stronger side, which would be left-handed, just by being comfortable seeing more pitches.
1-0 the count on JT Snow, with Garrett Anderson due next.
And the old rule of thumb as a switch hitter, you're always taught that left-hand hitters are low ball hitters, right-hand hitters usually high ball hitters. Doesn't always work that way, but that's the majority of the cases. A right-hand hitter would rather the ball up in the strike zone.
A ball and a strike now on Snow as it's fouled straight back. Of course, his father, a terrific wide receiver at Notre Dame, and of course his dad had a great pro career with the Los Angeles Rams. JT himself turned down a football scholarship from Notre Dame. He had basketball scholarships from colleges on the West Coast. Instead, he went to the University of Arizona and played baseball. Came up through the Yankee organization before being dealt to the Angels. A ball and 2 strikes as he took the breaking ball. He was part of the deal that sent Jim Abbott to the New York Yankees. That, of course, was a very controversial deal because of Abbott's popularity in Anaheim. Didn't work out for Abbott in New York, but he's had a good year in Chicago.
The other player involved in that trade, Russ Springer, is now in the rotation for the Angels, so it's worked very well for the Angels. There's the inside move just to keep the base runner at second on his toes.
That runner being Jim Edmonds. Tim Salmon at first. One down. Angels trying to break it wide open, leading by 3, and Snow with a drive to deep left. And this ball is gone. So J.T. Snow has hit his 14th home run of the year. It's only his second right-handed. And the Angels have exploded into a 7-1 lead.
Well, I guess the scouting report that I remember from years ago is still the same. High fastball hitters from the right side. Jumps all over this high fastball. Good extension. Ball's out over the middle of the plate. Look at how his head has to go down to hit the ball. Every guy that hits a ball hard, you'll notice their head at contact is in a down position.
And Jim Poole knew it. Garrett Anderson takes a breaking ball away. So the Angels continue to stay hot. They swept 4 in Detroit. They lead here 7-1 in the 7th as J.T. Snow now with 14 homers and 59 runs batted in. Check that. He now has 60 RBIs, as tonight he's gone 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs. That'll even the count on the ball and a strike. J.T. Snow has thrived on Indians pitching. He has now hit 6 home runs off the Indians in his young career. Chop foul on the right side. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Anderson.
I guess it could be mentioned that today they optioned out Alan Embry.
Yes.
Cleveland did.
And
Young pitcher who picked up 2 wins in the last 4 games.
Reassigned one-time Baltimore closer Greg Olson as they activated Chad O'Jay and Dave Winfield. There's a weak swing by Anderson and the flip to first with a strikeout. 2 down now in the Angels 7th. The Angels today, they put Sean Bosky. They're active to July 6th with a bad elbow. And they brought up from Vancouver Mark Holsimer. And they'll have another move tomorrow. Chili Davis saying that he expects to be in the lineup tomorrow after being out with a hamstring pull.
How many Angel players do we see making their little trek down to the batting cages? We talked about the Coors Silver Bullets. They played a game before the regular game tonight, so the hitters didn't have an opportunity to hit on the field.
A gamper there off the bat of Damian Easley, and this ball will go all the way to the wall, and Easley can fly, but he'll stop at second with a 2-out double up the alley in right center as he collects his first hit, and the Indians continue to double their pleasure as they have now banged out 6 doubles in this game to go with a home run, as 7 of the 11 hits have been for extra bases.
Well, Easley takes a fastball that's down out over the plate, and instead of trying to pull it, which Rod Carew talked about, that he wants to give him a pull happy frenzy, that time he drove the ball to right center field.
Here's George Fabregas 0 for 3. Right now, Fabregas and Garrett Anderson, the only Angels without a hit. They lead 7-1 in the 7th as the fastball misses high. So Chad O'Jay went 6 innings tonight. The starter giving up 4 runs on 8 hits. He walked 2, struck out 5. He left with the game being 4-1, but the Angels jumping all over Jim Poole for 3 runs in the 7th. A ball and a strike now on Fabregas.
George is saying, is that a strike or a ball? Well, when you're pulling off the ball that bad, you don't get the chance to see it. That was the old roundhouse curveball coming from the first base side. Oh, look out. That's what you call a jelly leg. That's when the legs turn to a little bit of jelly. Brought back some bad memories.
2-1 to count on Fabregas.
You feel like your mind wants you to do one thing, but your body just won't let you.
Pretty good lead for Easley at second. Right back off the glove of Poole. Baerga, he can't come up with it, and by not grabbing it with his glove, another run scores. He tried to make the bare hand grab, and that cost the Indians another run. As it's 8-1 California, as Damon Easley will score, and we'll have to wait and see how they rule that. Right off the top of the glove of Poole, and Baerga
thinking he still had to play at first base, tries to barehand this ball, and that enables Easley to score.
And May goes a hit and an error. We'll wait and see, as it's 8-1 California with 2 down, and Fabregas at first, and the 8th man to bat in the California 7th, Gary DiSarcina. It's a roller down the third base side into the photo bay. DiSarcina has doubled in 3 at bats. They are giving Fabregas a base hit and an RBI.
Nice scoring, Tom. You're looking at me with that puzzled look.
Claim the 5th.
George will take it.
Again, right back to Poole. This time he's able to jump high enough. But the Angels have broken this one wide open as they score 4 times and now lead by 7. Angels in command 8-1. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Time for the MCI proof positive replay.
High fastball from Jim Poole. JT Snow says, I'll handle this one. Big 3-run homer.
MCI proof positive that JT Snow can also hit home runs right-handed, as he talks to the guru, Rod Carew. Think he hit a fastball?
Saying fastball right there, and I saw it. Fastball right there.
Well, Brian Anderson, what a thrill this must be for him. Born and raised in Geneva, Ohio, just 45 minutes up the road along Lake Erie. And in front of family and friends, he has stymied the Indians on 1 run on 3 hits. He's walked 4, has struck out 1. Brian Anderson pitching for the first time here in Cleveland and pitching against the team he grew up and rooted for. 1-1 the count on Thome, who is 1 for 2 with a single. Well, don't forget, though, the Indians, the best come from behind team in baseball. 24 come from behind wins. They were down 8-0 to David Cone and beat Toronto. They were down 6-0 to Wilson Alvarez and beat the White Sox.
And you notice nobody's leaving in the ballpark. Last night, Manny Ramirez, the big home run in the bottom of the 12th inning off of Dennis Eckersley.
But so far tonight, Anderson has really held the Indians in check. He jammed Thome there, and he hit a fly to shallow right as Salmon made the grab for out number 1. Boy, he has been masterful with his location. As Herbert Perry will step to the plate, has walked and flied to center. There haven't been a lot of hard outs, Rick.
No, we're used to seeing the Indians hit balls right on the nose. But you got to give a lot of credit to the left-hander on the mound. Spotting his fastball, an occasional changeup. He's really zoomed in. He's zoned right in on the down and away outside part of the plate. I thought the Cleveland Indians hitters would have made the adjustment, try to take that part of the plate away from him.
Missed with that sinker, 2-0. Well, Brian Anderson is very critical to this Angels rotation. You know what you're going to get from Chuck Finley and from Mark Langston, but with Sean Bosky on the DL, they really need Anderson to step up as Perry takes him the other way for a 1-out single to right.
I said that's a nice job of hitting by Herbert Perry, because he's going to be getting balls away from him. So put the percentages in your favor. What he wants to do is try and hit the ball to right field. There's a ball out away from him. Real good, compact, short swing. He's going to be around a while. He's got that short swing working.
And he came in hitting .368. Now Sandy Alomar will bat. He has popped up and grounded to third. It's just the 4th hit for the Indians off Brian Anderson, and the Indians came in hitting .291 as a team. Well, there's no question that both these ball clubs are still in pursuit of more starting pitching. Maybe the Angels even a little more so than the Indians.
Yeah, I would think the Angels more so because they're going to be in a pennant race. They're going to need another starter maybe to compete and to beat Texas. And we're not counting Oakland or Seattle out of the race. They're not that far behind. Whereas on the other hand, the Indians have a 14.5 game lead. Why give up 2-3 prospects for, let's say, a David Cone, a Brett Saberhagen? You don't really know. I mean, you're not going to be in the pennant race.
Hammered to deep left center. Way back for Alomar and out of here to the bleachers. And the comeback, has it begun in earnest? It's now 8-3 on Alomar's second blast in 95. That's just the 8th home run off Anderson. There was not much doubt about that one.
Little fastball on the outside part of the plate. Alomar gets everything behind it. Good extension. Bat comes through the hitting area quick. Pretty good pitch. I mean, Anderson, that's the ball that they've been popping up. Sandy stayed behind it and drove it to left center field.
So now it's an 8-3 ball game in the 7th inning as pitching coach Chuck Hernandez to the mound. It's almost like having two pitching coaches when your manager is Marcel Latzman, who for years an outstanding pitching coach in his own right. Chuck Hernandez has done a terrific job with his staff. Now we get activity in the Angels bullpen as John Habian begins to loosen up. They just acquired Habian. In fact, he's only worked in one game. Ruben Amaro, first ball swinging, drives it to deep center. Edmonds hits over his head, but he reaches out and makes a great running catch. Oh, what a play by Edmonds.
This play is made as soon as the ball is hit off the bat. Edmonds sees it all the way. Right to the bottom of the glove. Couldn't reach any further. They've been raving about his center field play, and we see why.
Here's Omar Vizquel with 2 down, and Marcel Latzman said, I've seen enough. When it takes a great catch like that, maybe it's time to make a change. And so we will see the right-hander, John Habian. But what a terrific job by Brian Anderson, as here in the 7th, it's 8-3, the Angels on top. Back at Jacobs Field, a look at Brian Anderson. He was terrific tonight, going 6 2/3, giving up 3 runs on 4 hits. He walked 4, struck out 1. He leads with an 8-3 lead as right-hander John Habian has come on for the California Angels. Habian 6'2", 185. 31-year-old right-hander's really bounced around. He's pitched with the Yankees, with Baltimore, Kansas City, St. Louis, and now with the Angels. Vizquel bats left-handed now and looks at strike 1 as he is 1 for 3 with a double.
I got to catch John Habian with the Yankees, and he's got a real good slider. Not scared to throw strikes with his fastball, and a real good changeup. I don't know if you want to classify it a split finger forkball on that type.
Habian's worked in just 1 game for the California Angels, working 2 1/3 scoreless innings. Sinker is low there as the count goes to 2-1. He was acquired by the Angels from St. Louis for a minor league outfielder on July 8th. With the Cardinals this year, he was 3-2 with an ERA of 2.88. So he did well in St. Louis. As Vizquel cuts and misses. By the way, there has been an official scoring change in the top of the inning when Fabregas got that single back up the middle. Give him a single, but take away the RBI and charge Carlos Baerga with an error that enabled the run to score.
Picking on those catchers, Tom. You're taking an RBI away from the catcher.
You are sensitive.
How can you do that? Probably the right call.
Yes, I would think so.
Habian makes it a little difficult for hitters to pick up the ball. He's got a little peekaboo style on the mound. Bends right over, covers the ball well. What I remember, he had a real tight little slider. Good slider against right-hand hitters.
Almost had his career come to an end before it began when he got into an off-season toboggan accident. He had to have shoulder surgery. That was back in his days with the Orioles when he was tobogganing with his good friend Billy Ripken. And it certainly hurt his career in the early going, but he's overcome that, and he's been a solid bullpen man. Payoff pitch. Got him. So the Indians get 2, and after 7, California now leads it 8-3. 8th inning, 8-3. California on top of Cleveland. Jim Poole, who came on last inning and gave up 4 runs. With the scoring change, 2 of the 4 runs earned, 2 of them unearned. Top of the order now, Tony Phillips batting right-handed for the first time. He is 2 for 4 with a double, a single, and an RBI. And for Phillips, it really doesn't matter average-wise which way he bats, but he has just 4 home runs right-handed as compared to 10 from the other side. But we saw that didn't matter with J.T. Snow. The outfield straight away, medium deep. A ball into strike on Phillips.
And to me, I would think it'd be very difficult for Tony Phillips to duplicate the same stance from both sides of the plate. He has an awful, unique, I guess you would call it a unique stance, the deep crouch, a lot of movement with the bat. But if you watch, it looks almost like a mirror image, both sides of the plate.
Gets out of that crouch and takes a breaking ball strike. 1-2 the count on Phillips.
So they always talk about you can't have that hitch. Well, Dave Winfield has it. Tony Phillips has it. As long as you start that hitch early enough, all that is a timing mechanism. You have to have some kind of movement to get started. You can't just start there from a standstill. You have to have movement. You see Tony wiggling the bat. He'll drop it, but he'll get it back up before he's ready to swing it. You have to get it up to the hitting area, which is right around your shoulders. Doesn't matter where you start. Remember Carl Yastrzemski?
Yep.
Way up in the air, wiggled it, but he got it down to the hitting area just as the pitch was on the way.
And Julio Franco, another one that had the unique stance where he almost wrapped that bat up around his head. Phillips lifts it out of play to the second deck on the right side.
That's why you really can't say this is the right way to hit. This is the perfect way to hit. Whether you're teaching little leaguers or major leaguers, you have to find they have to find their own comfort zone, whatever they're comfortable with. And I think that's what Rod Carew was talking about today. Let them find their comfort zone. I'm there to help them if they need me.
2-2 the count now on Phillips. And it's full now on the Angels leadoff hitter.
It's really difficult to make one, an entire team swing the same way. Utilize what
Although
they
you
have.
see a lot of it in Chicago with Walter Rainiac, don't you?
I love Walter. I worked with Walter. The biggest thing with him was your head. Your head had to go down to hit.
Count stays full on Phillips.
And I would think, looking back, working with Charlie Lau in New York, very similar degrees. Walt Rainiac, Charlie Lau. The mental approach was more important than the physical approach. Looking for certain pitches in different situations. Getting inside the catcher's head. Not the pitcher, the catcher, because he's the one who's calling the pitches.
Once again, the 3-2 pitch, and that time Phillips chased ball 4. Second strikeout for Jim Poole. Now these two clubs are really emerging. As you see Phillips go chasing.
Chasing the backdoor breaking ball. That's the one that starts way off the plate away, and it comes and tries to nip the outside part of the plate.
Jim Edmonds, who's had another big night, 2 for 3 with a double, a single, and an RBI. California 8 runs on 12 hits. Cleveland 3 runs on 5 hits as we are in the 8th inning. You look at these two clubs. Really, the Indians emerged last year, and Mike Hargrove felt a real turning point for his club last year, or one of them, was when they had those back-to-back 4-game series with the White Sox, as Edmonds goes the other way, and he'll have another 2-base hit. He will have his second double, and the Angels have a season-high 7 doubles in the game. And the Indians just continued this year really where they left off a year ago.
How pretty is this swing? I'm telling you, reminds me an awful lot of a young Will Clark.
Pretty good company.
Yeah, same mechanics, the way he gets the weight shift into the ball.
As we mentioned, the 7 doubles, the season high for the Angels. They've also belted a home run tonight. And here's Greg Myers, 1 for 4 with a rare single. Poole has not been getting many people out, including left-handers in this outing, as the breaking ball is wide.
We mentioned in our opening how a lot of people might be surprised that the Angels are leading the major leagues in runs scored. Well, after seeing them tonight, you understand why. Balanced attack.
And they've done it here tonight, not with the home run bat. They've just had some real clutch hitting. They scored their first 4 runs with 2 men out.
And I think the thing that's impressed me is that they're not pull hitters, trying to utilize the entire playing field. You'll hit for higher averages that way.
Marcel Latchman felt there were 2 games that were real key to his club as the count goes to 2-1. And they came both times after Lee Smith had blown saves. One was against Texas when it knocked them out of first place. The next day they came back, scored 11 runs to beat the Rangers. And the other was when Mark McGwire hit a grand slam off Lee Smith. The next day they came back, scored 8 runs against Oakland and beat them. And Marcel Latchman felt those were 2 very important wins when you look at how this club has come along. Hit sharply on the ground to short as Vizquel will hold the runner and throw out Myers for out number 2.
Well, I would think that Marcel would bring up those 2 ball games, because if a young team has any kind of self-doubt at all, it's when your closer, and you know, we're picking on Lee Smith, he only blew 2 the whole year.
Right.
So in other words, he's saying if they have any doubt themselves, it's after a devastating loss like that, and that shows character, the way they bounce back the next day. So I mean, it makes a lot of sense why he would point to those 2 days.
And Mike Hargrove said that if there were key games this year and the way the Indians are going, people will say, well, how are any of them key, because there have been so many dramatic games. But they went east early this year, taking on Baltimore, New York, and Boston, and did well in Baltimore and New York, and then went to Boston, lost on a Thursday, and then came from behind from the 7th inning on and beat the Red Sox Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. 3 incredible wins from the 7th inning on, and that really seemed to catapult this club, as you see a nice play by Perry to end the top of the 8th inning. So we've reached the middle of the 8th inning with the Angels still up by 5 at 8-3. The 8th inning, some of the fans have lost faith, but not many. Too many times they've seen this team come from behind, as Cleveland has posted 14 wins this year, either when trailing or tied going into the 8th inning. They did it again yesterday, but they've got quite a mountain to climb right now, especially when you consider the California bullpen. We talk about Lee Smith, but Marcel Latchman also saying how critically important people like Troy Percival and Bob Patterson have been in getting to Lee Smith. Their setup people have been terrific, as you look at baseball's all-time saves leader, Lee Smith.
There's the big man hiding out there. Say, I don't want to work today. I have a nice day off. It was hot in Detroit the last couple days. Smitty and I played with we played together in Baltimore. Boston. But Smith has had a big impact on Troy Percival that you mentioned.
And Percival throwing in the California pen. And we may see him after Baerga. Bats, as the next hitters are right-handed. Baerga, the switch hitter tonight, has doubled in a run, fouled out and walked. 8-3. California leads it, bottom of the 8th. Avian in relief of Anderson, and he jammed Baerga and got him to pop it up to J.T. Snow at first for out number 1. Albert Bell, and let's see if we see Percival, or if his skipper Marcel Latchman may stick with John Avian. Well, we want to remind you that next Monday on ABC Sports, Baseball Night in America returns. Some of you will see Tony Gwynn and the San Diego Padres travel to Riverfront Stadium to battle the Reds. Other areas will be seeing Tim Naring and the Boston Red Sox host Chuck Knobloch and the Minnesota Twins. Or other regional action, you can check your local listings for the game in your area next Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central here on ABC. These two clubs will be facing off next Monday night in Anaheim as Bell cuts and misses.
Tom, you brought up a good point. The setup man in baseball. That to me, if you're a manager, that's got to be the 7th and 8th innings have to be the toughest 2 innings to manage, trying to get to the closer. And in this case, on these two teams, you have the 2 best closers in the American League, in Jose Mesa and Lee Smith. It's getting to the closer in the 9th inning has been difficult.
Well, it was the only real weak spot on the Indians ball club a year ago. Their top save man was Jeff Russell with 5, to give you an idea how they struggled getting a closer. And Jose Mesa worked on that role during winter ball, came to spring training, was told, "You're the man." And Mesa has yet to have a blown save opportunity, and it's really been the key to this ball club, according to a lot of people, including Tony La Russa, who said this weekend he compares the Indians of '95 to his club that broke through in '88 and went to the World Series. And he said the key that year was Dennis Eckersley, his first big year as a closer. And he sees a lot of similarities.
Yeah, if you think back to the '88 Oakland team, they had the young sluggers of McGuire and Canseco.
Bell trying to hold up and is struck out. Boy, John Habian has done quite a job. Bell didn't realize it was strike 3. Second strikeout for Habian, who's retired the 3 Indians he's faced. And Manny Ramirez will bat with 2 down.
I had talked about the good tight slider that Habian will feature. And I'll tell you, the good breaking ball is the one that starts on the plate and then goes off the plate. You can see that ball almost wound up in the dirt. Just tempt the hitter. Show it to him at the plate, and then it goes away.
Now Manny Ramirez 0 for 2 with the walk. 8-3 California, 2 down in the Cleveland 8th with the bases empty. Well, and for California, much like Cleveland, they had closer problems over the last several years, really ever since Brian Harvey left. But Lee Smith has filled that void. And there doesn't seem to be anything that's more harmful for a young club than when they lose games late. But Smith and Mesa have taken care of that here on both these teams.
A Troy Percival.
Yep.
Because he can learn from the master. There he is, Lee Smith, the master. We had some fun today in the clubhouse. He really can. And you know what? You know the other, Heathcliff Slocum, who's doing such a good job for the Phillies in the National League, gives an awful lot of credit to Doug Jones, who he played with as the setup man last year for. He said they teach you a little bit out there what it's like to prepare yourself for certain situations. If you blow it, you're back there the next day, you're going to get the ball again. And it's so important to their confidence.
There's Jose Mesa. Dennis Eckersley made an interesting point this weekend in talking about the Indians and Mason. He said, the other similarity I see, speaking of Eck, he said in '88, we, the Oakland A's, got the huge lead. And he goes, it enabled me that if I did blow a game, it wasn't going to cost us the pennant. And it enabled you to build more confidence, not knowing that every ball game was do or die. And he said the same thing now. He said now if Mesa does have a blown save, it's not that big a deal when you have a 14.5 game lead, and the next day you just go back out there and you get back in a good groove. Eckersley didn't have any problems in '88 until Kirk Gibson came to the plate in the World Series. And Jose Mesa having a phenomenal season. 8-3 Angels. They really broke this open with their 4-run 7th. And Ramirez down swinging, and Habian has struck out 3 of the 4 that he's faced. We go to the 9th. Angels up 5-5. Eight to 3 California on top. We go to the 9th inning, and tonight's Chevrolet player of the game is first baseman J.T. Snow. The California Angels, in conjunction with this program, Chevrolet will contribute a total of $50,000 to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America in the names of all players of the game for the 1995 Major League Baseball season. That was a big hit there.
Big hit there, and just as big was the one in the first inning. The 2-out single to drive in the first run of the ball game. Things may have been a little different if they didn't come through with the 2-out situations. JT jumped all over that high fastball in the 7th inning.
A 3-run home run, as now he'll face Paul Assenmacher. Jim Poole worked 2 innings, gave up 4 runs, 2 earned, allowed 5 hits, didn't walk anybody, struck out 2. Now the veteran lefty Paul Assenmacher, who's had a terrific year. 6'3", 210. Assenmacher, 34 years old, has been the Indians' late inning left-hander out of the pen. And as you see, has allowed just 3 runs all season. As Paul Assenmacher has come on in the 9th, 8-3 Angels, as Snow, the switch hitter, looks at a ball low. For Assenmacher, this is his 21st outing, a record of 2-2 with an ERA of 1.93. Once again, we want to pause for our ABC stations to identify themselves.
This is WXYZ-TV, Channel 7, Detroit.
With Rick Cerone, I'm Tom Hamilton. 8-3, California on top in the 9th inning. They've led from the start as Assenmacher has the count go to a ball and 2 strikes on JT Snow. Snow 3 for 4 tonight. A homer, a double, a single, and 4 runs batted in. Bissett back foul and out of play.
Are we going to call a triple?
That's all he needs now.
Right over the center fielder's head by the 405 sign. Let's call one. Let's see the cycle.
He's done everything else tonight. He's made some terrific plays defensively. Now this will be tough to get a triple out of it.
Just keep running. Don't stop.
4 hits in the game for JT Snow, who came in here batting .303. Baseball Night in America is brought to you by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers. By Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. And by Beechwood H. Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you. Angels have now out-hit the Indians 14-5 and lead at 8-3 as Garrett Anderson, the only Angel without a base hit.
And right now he's sitting on 3 strikeouts.
1 more in the golden sombrero.
And what you want to do as a hitter, you got to put the ball in play in a hurry. But already you look up to the scoreboard, it's an 0-2 count. Now you dial 911, the emergency hack, just to try to put it in play.
This rookie's homered in 3 straight games. He won't get a home run tonight. It may drop if Ramirez doesn't hurry. Very nonchalant catch and shallow right for the out. 1 down. Here is Damian Easley. He has doubled in 3 at-bats. As again, you get an update on what else is happening in baseball. Rockies a real story in the National League, aren't they?
I'll tell you, only 3 years in existence and already battling for a division title.
And like the Indians, playing in just a terrific facility. Angels would like to have a baseball-only park, and that could become a reality in the near future. As Easley hits it on the ground to third. Tomey to second, 1. The double play turned by Erga. Well, the Indians have had some miracle rallies. They'll need another one, down 5. Bottom of the 9th inning, California leads at 8-3. John Havian did a fine job tonight in relief. He went an inning and a third, retired all 4 men that he faced, 3 via the strikeout, and he gives way to the hard-throwing right-hander and the closer of the future, Troy Percival, 6'3", 200 pounds. The 25-year-old right-hander has struck out 46 in 37 innings. He has a record of 2-0 and an ERA of 2.17, this being his 33rd appearance. And Lee Smith has not only been a great closer for the Angels this year, but one heck of a tutor.
He has helped them an awful lot, and the radar guns will light up close to 100 miles an hour.
That's his changeup. Wayne Kirby will bat for Dave Winfield. So Winfield, back from the DL, was 0 for 3 tonight. As Mike Hargrove gets a left-handed bat in there to face Troy Percival has the heater that Rick talked about and a pretty decent curveball. 2-0 the count.
You notice we don't even talk about it anymore, but a reliever comes into the ball game right to the stretch rather than the windup. I believe Bruce Sutter was the first one to do that. And the reasoning is less things can go wrong. The windup, a lot of motion, a lot of movement, you can get out of sync in a hurry. You go to the stretch, a little more compact, a little less movement, a more direct path to the target, which is the catcher's glove.
Well, this guy is quite a story. I mean, it's not only the fact that he can sometimes throw 100 miles an hour. He just threw that by Kirby. But he began his career as a catcher. And then he had Tommy John surgery in 1993, and they say now he throws harder than he did before the surgery, which Dr. Yoakum may be asked what he put in that elbow. Kirby stays alive at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And that brings up a funny story about Tommy John, because when he had the operation, he told him to give him Koufax's ligament. And they made a mistake. They gave him Mrs. Koufax's ligament. He came back throwing softer than he did before.
2-2 pitch. Kirby stays alive. You know, the thing about Tommy John, he's noted now more for the surgery being named after him. He's a guy that won, what, 260-some games in his career, most of them after the surgery.
After the surgery is right. And he had movement. See, that's why sometimes you take the radar guns and just throw them aside. Movement is so much more important than velocity.
Broken bat there.
And you add one more to that, movement and location.
Yep.
And really, if you think about it, to be successful no matter what level, you need 2 pitches. You need a fastball and a changeup. If you can use those 2 pitches effectively, you can win consistently in the major leagues.
Well, Percival, he was a catcher at UC Riverside. His first year in the Angels organization, he was a catcher and he hit 200. So he's only been pitching since 1991. He had the surgery in 1993. Actually, I should make a correction. He didn't have the Tommy John surgery. He had calcium removed from the ligament in the elbow, and he just struck out Wayne Kirby to start the bottom of the 9th. But nonetheless, it was a serious operation on his elbow, and he has certainly come back. That is the 5th strikeout for the Angels staff tonight. Havian struck out 3 of the 4 he faced in relief, and now Jim Thome, 1 for 3, will take his shot at Percival.
Look at the legs on Troy. I talked about how legs are so important in pitching and hitting. You use your legs so much more in pitching. The drive, the old theory, drop and drive. Well, that's what pitchers get all their power is from their legs, the bottom half.
8-3 Angels, 9th inning. There's nothing fancy about this guy. He's just going to challenge you now with a 5-run lead.
When you throw that hard, what does it do to a hitter? You have to cheat. You have to get the bat going a little bit earlier. You commit yourself earlier, so you wind up swinging at more bad pitches off of hard throws.
Both clubs came in here with a 4-game winning streak. The Angels 2 outs away from extending it. The Indians with the best record in baseball at 50-21. But tonight, California jumping out with 2 in the first, 2 in the second, then broke it open with a 4-run 7th. And J.T. Snow, the big story, with 4 hits and 4 runs batted in. 2 balls and a strike now on Thome.
I remember catching Rich Goose Gossage for the Yankees, close to 100 miles an hour. Never had signs with Goose. Go ahead, just throw it, Goose. Keep it coming. You know, in the 3 years I caught him, I can't remember a right-hand hitter ever swinging at a breaking ball. They just froze. We didn't call many breaking balls, but when we did, they never would offer at it. And if you remember, Goose pitched up until last year using more breaking balls, but still had good velocity.
It still was effective. In fact, he probably would have pitched this year if The only team he really wanted to pitch for were the Rockies because he wanted to stay close to home as he lives in Colorado. 3-1 the count on Thome. Threw it by him. Full count. Boy, talk about a classic matchup. Thome is a great fastball hitter, and of course we talked about this guy's fastball.
Yeah, this is what people pay to watch. All the fans that stuck around and haven't given up hope. This is what it's all about. Mano y mano.
Full count now on Thome. Got him. Challenged him and won it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take a little bit off and hit that 96-mile-an-hour heater right at the bottom of the knees. That's unfair.
Indians down to their last out, and Herbert Perry, who has walked, flied out, and singled. 8-3 Angels lead it with 2 down here in the 9th. The executive producer of ABC Sports is Jack O'Hara. The coordinating producer of the Baseball Network, John J. Filippelli. Coordinating producer for ABC Sports, Kurt Gowdy Jr. Studio producers, Lance Garrett and Bill Graham. Tonight's game produced by Carol Langley McDermott. Directed by Tom Farmer. The associate director, Bob Tetzloff. Technical director, Steve Curran. Assistant to producer, Ed Warren. And this game ends with Perry flying to right field. And the Angels have won the first battle between these two division leaders, as J.T. Snow belts out 4 hits, knocking in 4, and Brian Anderson comes back home to pick up the win in front of mom and dad, family and friends. The Angels a winner here tonight, 8-3. Don't forget that Baseball Night in America will return next Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central here on ABC. For Rick Cerone, I'm Tom Hamilton. Again, the final, California 8, Cleveland 3. So long, everybody, from Jacobs Field in downtown Cleveland.